Chapter 22-29. They didn't think that it would be possible for those giant beasts to break the complicated star patterns in front of them. Before they came, they had been fiddling with it, but they didn't see anything. They didn't even leave a trace. As for whether the giant beasts had a level 6 star tattoo master, they definitely didn't have one. The giant beast race was completely inept in this aspect. It was only recently that they were able to evolve into this appearance. Therefore, it was only recently that he became a cultivator. This meant that he could cultivate martial arts, star runes, and the like. It was impossible for them to become a level 6 star tattoo master in such a short time. Tianyun didn't find anything useful in his memories. Pengde and the others had set up camp here to prevent other cultivators from breaking in. He guessed they were waiting for the evil spirit race or the green demon race to come and break it. After all, they really couldn't break it with their abilities. It was extremely difficult to break through the star patterns or through brute force. Especially breaking it with brute force, that was basically impossible. The materials here were absolutely amazing. Even star venerable level treasures would be destroyed if they collided with them. At least Tianyun felt that if he broke it, he would only injure himself. He wouldn't destroy the gate. If it could be destroyed, someone would have done it long ago, instead of leaving it until now. It seems that I don't know how to open the gate. Tianyun looked it up and down, trying to see if there was a keyhole. After looking for a long time, there was no keyhole. It meant that the purple gold divine pavilion key in his hand was useless. This was obviously awkward. Didn't it mean that the key was useless? He could only use the key in the future. When they were feeling around the gate, they suddenly felt a few auras behind them. They quickly turned around. They saw a few familiar figures. It was the Chu family. They didn't expect the Chu family to come here, instead of following the map. I didn't expect you to also notice the situation here. Tianyun squinted and looked over. He didn't expect Jing Xian to come here. He felt that it was very likely that Jing Xian could also deduce some things and find the real location. That would depend on how long it took for him to make a judgment. Now, it seemed that the time spent was very short. It seemed that Jing Xian's ability was really not bad. When Chu Hetong and the others saw the situation, their eyes widened. They didn't expect to find the entrance here. Just by looking at this door, one could tell that it was not an ordinary door. If it could be opened, there must be a lot of treasures inside. That's right. My judgment was a little late, and I was a lot slower than you. However, it seems that we're not too late. Jing Xian's beautiful eyes flashed as if she had met a worthy opponent for the first time. Tianyun was ahead of her step by step, which made her feel very strong. She did not have that sense of control. Tianyun shrugged and said frankly, "Indeed, we didn't come too late. There's no point for us to come early. The door basically can't be opened unless your star rune ability is at least level 6 or 7. Otherwise, it's impossible to open." Since he couldn't get in anyway, there was no harm in saying it out loud. Tianyuan and the others were calmer this time. They didn't feel too afraid facing the Chu family's 7 great star venerates. After seeing the power Tianyun had displayed, they finally understood why they weren't afraid of the Chu family. If they really fought, they might not be able to crush them, but it wouldn't be a problem to make them suffer great losses. Especially that devouring the starry sky, which really scared them. Jing Xian didn't reply. She walked over and observed the door carefully. Chu Hetong and the others looked over, but they didn't argue with them. There were no treasures to fight for at the moment, and it was difficult to open the door. There was no need to fight to the death. After observing it carefully for a while, Jing Xian nodded and said, "That's right. It's indeed impossible to open it. You need at least a level 6 or 7 star rune master to open it. It's quite difficult. It's basically impossible to open it. Does that mean we can only look at it and not go in?" Chu Hetong asked doubtfully. "That seems to be the case." Jing Xian touched the star patterns on the door and said calmly, "It's a bit complicated, but we must fulfill some conditions to open the door. As for what the conditions are, it's really hard to tell." Jing Xian turned her head to look at Tianyun and said with a faint smile, "Let me reintroduce myself. I am Jing Xian. May I know how to address you, young master?" Tianyun. Lee Tianyun said his real name directly, but he only said the last two words. He still admired Jing Exin and thought it would be good to get to know her. So, it's young Master Tianyun. You're quite good at this. You figured out the real goals so quickly. What do you think about this door? Can we discuss it? Jing Exin said with a faint smile. What's in it for us to discuss it? Lee Tianyun asked with a smile. There's basically no benefit, but I can guarantee that our Chu clan won't do anything to you. Is this enough sincerity? Jing Exin was like the clan leader, directly deciding things for Chu Hutong and the others. Lee Tianyun's eyes flickered. From Jing Exin's words, he could tell that she had a lot of power to decide. Chu Hutong didn't have any opinions at all. Everything was decided by her. This made him very curious about Jing Exin's true identity. Could it be that he was the next patriarch? This is indeed a great sincerity. Lee Tianyun said with a faint smile. Since that's the case, I'll be generous and tell you what I can find out. Lee Tianyun reached out to touch the golden door and said calmly, I feel that this golden door lacks blood. When I touched it, I felt a blood-sucking feeling, as if it wanted to suck the blood out of my body. It needs to absorb blood to open the door. Oh, there's such a feeling? Why don't we feel it? Chu Hutong and the others reached out to touch it, but they didn't feel anything special. I don't feel it either. Tian Yuan shook his head. I feel it too. Tian Xinhuan said in surprise, I wanted to say this before, but I thought you all felt it too. I feel it too. Jing Exin's eyes flashed. As expected of young Master Tianyun. You're very thorough. Chapter 2230. Lee Tianyun did not believe that Jing Exin could not guess it. He felt that Jing Exin could definitely guess it and was just asking him. As for why the Chu family did not fight with them, Jing Exin had said from the start that they would not be enemies, so there was no point in saying that. To put it bluntly, Jing Exin just wanted to continue probing him to see how much he knew so that she could evaluate him. It was impossible for Jing Exin to have a good impression of him. Jing Exin's expression was completely like a nun's. It was impossible for her to have a good impression of him. It was purely a test. I only sensed it a little. It seems that young Master Tianyun guessed more and knows more. Jing Exin did not deny her thoughts. She looked at him and smiled. Then, I wonder if young Master Tianyun has any thoughts about this blood? What thoughts can I have? Isn't it very direct? Just spray the blood on it. As for how much is needed, that will depend on the requirements of this door. Lee Tianyun shrugged and said indifferently, currently, it seems like this is the method. As for the other methods, I am not too clear. Since the door needed their blood, they could only spray it with their blood. As for what would happen later, he did not know. He could only sense one thing, and that was that this door needed a specific type of blood. While they were talking, a group of figures suddenly appeared behind them, causing them to turn their heads to look. What appeared in front of them was actually the Zhu family. When the Zhu family appeared, they naturally saw the arrogant Zhu Xing, so this is the real passage. I almost missed it. Zhu Xing cursed as he followed them over. When he saw them standing there, his eyes lit up. Little sister Jing Exin, it seems that you also found the real entrance. I was just about to go find you and tell you about the real entrance. Zhu Xing smiled as he walked over. It looked like he was the one who found it. The real situation was naturally not found by him, but by the other elders. Since they could become a great family of Scarlet Moon Planet, they definitely had considerable strength. It was not surprising that they were able to find the problem. No need. It is not difficult to find the real entrance. Jing Exin's expression was indifferent. She really did not have a good impression of him. I don't think so either. It's just that it took some time to find some treasures. Zhu Xing was very thick-skinned as he smiled and said, I definitely believe in little sister Jingxin's ability. From the looks of it, you should be the first to find this place, right? Zhu Xing glanced at Lee Tianyun and didn't pay much attention to him. In his opinion, Jing Exin should be the first to find it. However, as for Lee Tianyun and the others, they were not too happy. They were the first batch to enter, and now they were still here. Their speed was really fast. However, from his point of view, this was meaningless. They were a little slow, but it didn't seem like there was any benefit to entering earlier. No, it was young Master Tianyun who found it first. I only arrived later. Jing Xian answered truthfully. Although she didn't really like Zhu Xing, she would still answer what she needed to answer. They found it first again? Zhu Xing narrowed his eyes and looked at Yi Tianyun and the others again. Which family are you from? Why haven't I seen you before? I don't belong to any family, Yi Tianyun said lightly. Don't belong to any family? They were all shocked. 3 great star venerables did not belong to any family. How did they come out? They all had suspicious looks on their faces. They didn't think it was possible. It was very likely that they were hiding their families. Impossible. You are all from the Tian family. Chu Hutong stepped forward and pointed it out. You seem to have been working with the Tian family. As for the other 2, the Heavenly Star Ring's great star venerables are from the Tian family, right? It wasn't just Chu Hutong. Some of the other elders also recognized Tian Yuan and the others. There were only a few great star venerables, so they could more or less recognize them. Zhu Xing and the others didn't know much. Zhu Xing's eyes were filled with disdain when he glanced at them. So, you are from the Tian family. I didn't expect such geniuses to appear in the Tian family. However, it doesn't matter if you came in earlier. You can't open this door anyway. You are waiting here for nothing. Zhu Xing knew about the Tian family's situation. The Tian family's overall situation was average. It was much worse than the Zhu family. They still didn't forget to mock them. So what if they came in earlier? They still had to wait here obediently. Yi Tianyun couldn't be bothered to argue with them. The Heavenly Star Ring wanted to retort, but Tian Yuan stopped her. He told her not to act rashly. Zhu Xing was a hedonistic son of a rich family. Quarreling with him would only make things worse. Especially since Zhu Xing was backed by the Zhu family. She could only swallow her anger and bear with it for a while. Can't say anything? Zhu Xing mocked. Then let me see how you open this door. Zhu Xing pretended to approach the door and extended his hand to touch it. However, he couldn't figure out how to open it. He had relied on his talent to reach his current cultivation. He didn't have any other abilities. Can you tell? Yi Tianyun asked calmly. I can tell. This golden door doesn't have a switch. You can only enter by breaking the star runes. It's the same as those treasure houses outside. Zhu Xing was very thick-skinned and said a bunch of nonsense. What's the difference between that and not saying anything? Yi Tianyun said calmly. Oh, it seems like you have a good idea? Then tell me, other than my method, what other method can you use to break it? Zhu Xing immediately felt unhappy. How dare he talk about him? Young Master Tianyun, I've already analyzed it. As long as we use blood, we can break it. Moreover, this blood can only be used by a specific cultivator. Jing Xian helped to answer. The Chu family and the others all smiled faintly. He didn't have any ability, yet he still came to show off in front of them. It was really embarrassing. Huh? Zhu Xing was startled. Immediately, a ball of fire appeared in his heart. He didn't expect to be mocked. This made him angry. I can tell too. When I touched it just now, I felt that this door wanted to suck my blood. I just didn't say it out loud. The thick-skinned Zhu Xing immediately retorted. He was a typical person who wanted to save face. Yi Tianyun shook his head. For a family to have such a genius, yet they didn't properly discipline him. It was really a tragedy. A genius was a genius, but he was lacking in some aspects. With this kind of character, if he didn't have the Zhu family as his backing, he would have died countless times. Chapter 2231. Is that so? How will young Master Zhu Xing deal with it after he learns about it? Jing Xian looked at him with a faint smile. She was obviously trying to provoke Zhu Xing. The way to deal with it is to pour some blood on it. It's that simple. Zhu Xing suggested a simple and crude way, which was similar to what they had thought. This was the only way for the moment. Young Master Zhu Xing, won't you give it a try? Jing Xian said with a faint smile. Although they all knew they had to do it, they did not know what would happen if they poured their blood on it. The purple gold divine pavilion was mysterious. They could not mess around. If something went wrong, it would be difficult to turn the situation around. I'll give it a try. Just give it a try. Zhu Xing was a little hesitant at first. However, since he had already said it, he did not know whether to do it or not. However, for the sake of his reputation, he had to give it a try. The people of the Zhu family wanted to stop him, but it was too late. Zhu Xing waved his hand and forced the essence blood out of his body. He poured it on the gate. When a few drops of essence blood fell on the gate, the whole golden gate shone with a dazzling golden light. The golden patterns on the gate turned red. Then, a line of words appeared. Medium stage star venerable realm, 87,000 years old, average talent. Below 200,000 years old, great star venerable realm, can enter. After the line of words flashed, the gate opened slightly. A door of light appeared for Zhu Xing to enter. Everyone's eyes lit up. They had not expected the gate to be opened in this way. It required a drop of essence blood so that the gate could recognize the person who entered and then decide whether they could enter or not. The most important thing was the last line. It made many great star venerables change their expressions. Below 200,000 years old? Many great star venerables present were much more than 200,000 years old. Some of them were even more than 500,000 years old. There were very few great star venerables who were below 200,000 years old. Wasn't this requirement a little too high? According to this, most of them could not enter. Only a few of them could enter. If most of them could not enter, it would be the same as standing outside. Since they could not enter, they could only stand outside in a daze. Looks like I reached the standard. What does it mean that my talent is average? My talent is only average. This is impossible. Zhu Xing was very unhappy with this evaluation. His innate talent was top-notch in the entire Scarlet Moon planet, but here, it was considered average. This made him very unhappy. He felt that his evaluation was not accurate. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He didn't point it out, but he felt that it must be accurate. This standard was naturally the standard of the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion. It was used to measure the geniuses of the past generations, not the Crimson Moon planet. It was like the strongest genius of Desolate Dragon Star was much weaker than Scarlet Moon Star. Although Zhu Xing was a little unhappy, he still had some pride since he met the requirements. There weren't many who could reach this level. Especially to be able to cultivate to this level in 80,000 years, it was truly a feat to look down on all heroes. Forget it, I'll go in first. Zhu Xing looked at Jing Exin and said with a smile, Sister Jing Exin, I'll go in first and wait for you. I reckon that in the entire Scarlet Moon Star, only a few can enter. This is our world. After saying that, Zhu Xing walked into the door of light. When he was about to leave, he suddenly stopped and said, Forget it, I'm not in a hurry to go in. Sister Jing Exin, hurry up and give it a try. Let's see how good it is. Zhu Xing gestured for Jing Exin to give it a try. He was not in a hurry. He could go in anyway. Jing Exin nodded and dropped a drop of essence blood on the door. After the drop of essence blood merged with the door, a line of words appeared on it. Early stage Grand Star Venerable, 51,000 years old, talent is average. Below 200,000 years old and a Grand Star Venerable, you can enter. Jing Exin's eyes narrowed. She reached the early stage Grand Star Venerable at 51,000 years old, and her talent was average? Wasn't this too high a requirement? When everyone saw this number, they were really shocked. She could reach the early stage Grand Star Venerable at 51,000 years old. How did she cultivate? Although her cultivation was not as good as Zhu Xing's, there was a difference of 30,000 years in age. If she was given another 30,000 years to cultivate, she would definitely surpass Zhu Xing and reach the late-stage Grand Star Venerable. Sister Jing Exin, you are amazing. You are my woman indeed. Zhu Xing was very thick-skinned. He would not be jealous of Jing Exin. In his eyes, Jing Exin was his woman. There was nothing to be jealous of. Jing Exin's gaze was cold. She did not care about Zhu Xing. She had refuted him many times, but it did not work. Zhu Xing's skin was just that thick. Unless his mouth was sealed, he would continue to speak nonsense. Okay, Then let's go in together. There is no point in staying here. The others probably can't enter. Zhu Xing smiled and gestured for Jing Xen to go in with him. At that moment, Jing Xen suddenly turned her head to look at Yi Tianyun. She said with a faint smile, "Young Master Dun, don't you want to try?" Seeing Jing Xen smiling at Yi Tianyun's heart immediately surged with anger. Jing Xen didn't even smile at him, but she smiled at Yi Tianyun. What's there to try? He definitely can't enter. Even if he can, he is much weaker than us. Are you interested in this guy? Zhu Xing was furious. He had already decided that Jing Xen was his woman. If she smiled at other men, it meant that she was unwilling. I still have to try. Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently, completely ignoring Zhu Xing. Jing Xen also ignored Zhu Xing, completely ignoring him. Soon after, Tianyun went to the gate and threw a drop of essence blood on the gate. With a flash of golden light, a line of words appeared on the gate. Middle stage Grand Star Venerable, less than 10,000 years old, talent of the extreme grade. Less than 200,000 years old and a Grand Star Venerable can enter. Less than 10,000 years old. Everyone wondered if they had seen it wrong. It was actually less than 10,000 years old. The cultivation ages of Jing Xen and the others were already terrifying. Now, there was one less than 10,000 years old. This number was too vague. There was no detailed value. Whether it was 8,000 years old, 5,000 years old, or 9,000 years old, it was not marked. This proved that this gate's value was not very accurate. It was a bit messy. No matter what, being less than 10,000 years old was enough to shock everyone. The group of people sucked in a breath of cold air, thinking that they were really seeing things. Chapter 2232. Less than 10,000 years old. This explosive news kept circling in their heads, shocking them silly. Even Jing Xen was shocked by this information. It was beyond her expectations. Less than 10,000 years old, Tianyun felt like his mind was in a mess. He did not even remember exactly how old he was. After some calculations, he was actually only a few thousand years old. He should be 3,000 or 4,000 years old. Fortunately, the most accurate information was not marked. If it was really said that he was 3,000 or 4,000 years old, it would be even more frightening. Being marked 9,000 years old was already frightening enough, let alone 3,000 or 4,000 years old. As for that superb talent, there was nothing much to say about that. If he could not get a superb talent like that, what would a truly superb talent be like? That's too exaggerated. Reaching the Great Star Venerable Realm before 10,000 years old. Tianyuan and the others gasped. They looked at Yi Tianyun in a different light. It was not just them. Even Chu Hetong and the others looked at him in a different light. Their eyes were filled with shock. They all wanted to rope him in. If he could reach this level at such a young age, what would happen if he was given a little more time? Wouldn't it be easy for him to break through to the Divine Star Venerable Realm? However, it was really easy for him to break through to the Divine Star Venerable Realm at such a young age. He was already in the middle stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm at such a young age. If he was given a few tens of thousands of years and used some resources, wouldn't he be able to soar into the sky? No, that's impossible. Absolutely impossible. How can someone break through to the Great Star Venerable Realm before 10,000 years old? There must be a problem. Zhu Xing shouted with bloodshot eyes. He was blown away by this scene. He had previously mocked Yi Tianyun for being so old. Now, Zhu Xing's age was truly explosive. He was at least 10 times older than Yi Tianyun. In terms of seniority, Zhu Xing was equivalent to Yi Tianyun's ancestor. However, in the cultivation world, seniority was not determined by age, but by cultivation. The two of them were on equal footing. Is there a problem? Why don't you show me if there's a problem with the message? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently, then turned to look at Tianyuan and the others. I'll be going in first. Miss Tian, you should be able to enter. Following Yi Tianyun, he passed through the light door and walked inside, waiting for Tian Xinghuan to enter. Heavenly Star Ring was taken aback. Then, it started testing and confirmed that it had indeed reached the standard. Below 180,000 years of age and below average talent, they had met the requirements and could enter. As for the others, including Tian Yuan, they did not meet the requirements. They were all over 200,000 years old and could not enter. After Heavenly Star Ring entered, Jing Xen followed him. She could not be bothered with the somewhat deranged Zhu Xing. Sister Jingxing, wait for me. Zhu Xing gritted his teeth, lifted his foot and walked inside, quickly disappearing into the light door. His face was burning hot. That was the effect of being slapped in the face. Yi Tianyun's words made him feel extremely awkward. He wanted to refute, but he couldn't. Heavenly Star Ring's test showed that there was nothing wrong with the door. His judgment was also very accurate. After they all entered, a few people tried to rush in, but when they touched the light door, they were fiercely bounced back. They could not enter at all. This was the case for those who did not meet the requirements. They could not enter at all. My God, a great star venerable less than 10,000 years old. Chu Hetong and the others were dumbfounded. They were still in shock. Jing Xian did not want us to be enemies with him because of this reason. They all felt their blood run cold. Even though Yi Tianyun's cultivation was not as good as theirs, given his talent, did he have a peerless powerhouse behind him, such as a divine star venerable as his master? Without a powerhouse supporting him, it was absolutely impossible for him to break through so quickly. After all, no matter how talented he was, he still needed resources. Without resources, how could he break through? For example, the star dermic phase level needed resources to improve. Without resources, it was impossible to break through. The time and manpower consumed in all aspects were extremely great. All of a sudden, they immediately thought that Yi Tianyun had a powerhouse supporting him. What's up with that companion of yours? Which faction's genius is he from? Chu Hetong looked in Tian Yuan's direction and stared at him. He wanted to get some information from Tian Yuan. I can only say that it's a very mysterious faction, so mysterious that even I don't know much about it. It's my good fortune to have met this brother. Tian Yuan smiled mysteriously. It seemed that this was really the case. He did not know much about Yi Tianyun. He knew which faction he belonged to and the general situation. However, he did not know why he had broken through so quickly. Perhaps after they separated, Yi Tianyun had met a peerless powerhouse helping him with his cultivation. No matter what, he knew he had to be mysterious to intimidate the powerhouses of these factions, so that they would not act recklessly. As expected, after he said that, their gazes all changed. There was no doubt that Yi Tianyun had a powerhouse supporting him. Could Zhu Xing have caused some trouble inside? The elders of the Zhu family started to worry. After all, Zhu Xing often caused trouble, and he liked Jing Xen very much. But at the moment, Jing Xian treated Yi Tianyun quite well. Zhu Xing was a person who could easily cause trouble. If Yi Tianyun really had a super powerhouse supporting him, wouldn't the Zhu family be implicated? They could only hope that Zhu Xing would not act recklessly. If he brought trouble to the Zhu family, it would be terrible. They had never disciplined Zhu Xing. They just let him do whatever he wanted. They looked at each other and saw shock in each other's eyes. At the same time, they also wanted to know how to get inside. They could not just wait outside like idiots, could they? The requirements of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion were too high. They had to meet such a high standard to get inside. At the same time, after passing through the light door, Yi Tianyun saw a row of weapons floating in the air. They were all star venerable level treasures. At a glance, there were at least 100 star venerable level treasures, which shocked Yi Tianyun. He had opened many treasure vaults outside, but he had not found a single star venerable level treasure. But there were 100 star venerable level treasures here. So many star venerable level treasures. Tian Xinghuan was also shocked by this scene when he had followed them in. He wanted to rush over and take one right away, but Yi Tianyun stopped him. Don't be impulsive. This place is not so simple. Yi Tianyun looked around, his eyes flashing. He wanted to see this place clearly. When he wanted to see the surroundings clearly, a figure had already dashed over to the pile of treasures. It was Zhu Xing, who had followed them in. When he had seen so many treasures, he would have dashed over directly instead of standing there like a fool. Chapter 22:33. Zhu Xing dashed over without hesitation. How could he not be tempted when he saw so many star venerable level treasures? So, as soon as he came out, he went straight to those weapons, trying to get as many as he could. A bunch of fools. They don't even dare to take the treasures when they see them. Zhu Xing laughed at Yi Tianyun and the others. They had come in ahead of time, but they didn't choose to take the treasures. Wasn't that the behavior of fools? While he was dashing over, a dreadful power suddenly came from the surface of the treasures in front of him. It sent him flying. In the end, he hit the wall heavily. Huh? Zhu Xing groaned. He felt his blood tumbling in his body. A trickle of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He was apparently badly injured. It seemed he had bounced back casually, but the rebound power was not light at all. Zhu Xing had almost been seriously injured due to the intense shock. If he hadn't been strong enough, he would have been seriously injured. If that happened, he would have been lucky to be able to leave, let alone take the treasures. Yi Tianyun looked at Zhu Xing as if he was looking at an idiot. He had felt something was wrong as soon as he had come in. It was easy to figure it out. If they had come in, they wouldn't have been able to take any treasures. What was the point? There are a lot of treasures, but you need brains to take them. Yi Tianyun mocked him. Zhu Xing had mocked him a lot, so he didn't mind hitting him when he was down. Tianxing laughed. Fortunately, Tianyun had stopped her. Otherwise, she would have ended up like Zhu Xing. It was undeniable that Zhu Xing had a bad temperament. Even if he was talented, so what? He was not smart enough. He was too impulsive, which led to such a stupid ending. Fortunately, it was just a simple rebound. If it had been some powerful great formation, he would have died without a whole corpse. Zhu Xing's face turned pale. He hadn't expected such a situation. He hadn't thought much before. He had dashed in after seeing so many treasures. After all, the treasure houses outside had been opened, and people could take treasures at will. There were no traps in them. He hadn't expected there to be a great formation protecting this place. He couldn't take those treasures at all. Who are you calling stupid? Zhu Xing jumped up. At the same time, he quickly adjusted his internal injuries. He stared coldly at Yi Tianyun, filled with killing intent. It was undeniable that Yi Tianyun was more talented than him, and he was younger than him. However, Tianyun was only a Grand Star Venerable at the moment, the same as him. Under such circumstances, Zhu Xing was not afraid of Yi Tianyun. No matter how talented a cultivator was, if his cultivation was low, a slightly stronger cultivator could easily crush him. Even if their talents were worlds apart, he could still easily suppress his opponent. Who do you think I'm talking about? Yi Tianyun said indifferently, it's important to know one's own limits. To be so reckless, do you really think we're stupid? Seeing so many treasures and not taking them? Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent, and then he couldn't be bothered to pay any attention to Chen Shi. Yi Tianyun moved his gaze towards the row of treasures before him. Brat, I'm going to kill you. Zhu Xing roared furiously and charged towards Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun didn't move at all. Tian Xinghuan's heart tightened. Seeing him not moving, Tian Xinghuan wanted to warn him. However, she found that Yi Tianyun didn't care about Zhu Xing at all. Zhu Xing thought that Yi Tianyun couldn't react in time, so he punched him. However, before his punch could hit Yi Tianyun, a thick shield bounced Zhu Xing back. He tumbled in the air for a few times and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was seriously injured again. Cough, cough, cough. What's going on? Zhu Xing felt dizzy. Why did even Yi Tianyun have a shield on him? I said you're stupid, so you're stupid. Yi Tianyun shook his head. Zhu Xing was really pitiful. He had nothing but talent. He didn't even have a brain. He didn't even know what was going on around him. What was the point of relying on talent? His cultivation was strong, but it wasn't strong enough to defy the heavens. If he really wanted to do whatever he wanted, he had to become invincible. It didn't matter if he had a brain or not. However, the problem was, could he become invincible? According to the judgment of the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion, he was only an average talent. It would be extremely difficult to become invincible. Young Master Zhu, don't be reckless. Not only are there problems with the treasures in front, but we are also protected by the energy here. Jing Exin kindly reminded, this should be a test for us. Moreover, we can't attack each other. When Jing Exin came in, she didn't act impulsively. Instead, she stayed outside and watched. Only Zhu Xing was extremely impulsive. He wanted to take the treasures he saw, which resulted in him being sent flying. Sending him flying once wasn't enough. He also wanted to hit Yi Tianyun. That was even more hilarious. He didn't even want to observe. Who could he blame for getting hit? Zhu Xing's face turned red. He made a fool of himself in front of Jing Exin and couldn't regain his face. He felt extremely sullen. All this while, when had he ever felt so sullen? Sister Jing Exin is still the one who cares about me. Zhu Xing stood up and smiled as if nothing happened. No, it's just that our families have a good relationship. I'm just reminding you out of goodwill. Jing Exin's expression was indifferent. It was impossible for her to be moved by him. She only chose to remind him because their families had a good relationship. Zhu Xing clenched his teeth and didn't continue this topic. Instead, he asked, then, Sister Jing Exin, what do you think of this place? He wasn't good in this area. Everything he faced, he would just rush forward and use his cultivation to suppress the opponent. Encountering this type of grand formation, he was at a loss. It wasn't that he didn't have time to cultivate. It was just that he didn't want to learn. From his point of view, if the other elders could do it, why would he need to cultivate? I can't see that. Jing Exin looked at Yi Tianyun and smiled. I wonder what do you think, young Master Tianyun? She would only smile when facing Yi Tianyun, but when facing Zhu Xing, her face was cold. Such a gap made Zhu Xing's heart burn with jealousy. He wanted to kill Yi Tianyun to vent his anger. What do you think? Yi Tianyun shook his head. I can't see it. I wanted to focus on watching, but who knew someone would come and cause trouble? They all knew who Yi Tianyun was talking about. If you can't see it, then you can't see it. Don't talk nonsense over there. Zhu Xing said sternly. Oh, even if I can't see it, it's better than you bumping into it, right? Yi Tianyun retorted, making Zhu Xing's face turn green and white. Talking more to Yi Tianyun would only bring humiliation to himself. Most importantly, he couldn't refute. Immediately, he shut his mouth, thinking about how to deal with Yi Tianyun when he gets out of here. Chapter 2234. Yi Tianyun observed carefully. There were over 100-star venerable level treasures here, but they were all covered by a shield, so he could only see them but not take them. Other than the piles of treasures, there was only a passageway that led to an unknown region. There were over 100-star venerable level treasures outside the passage. Even if he could not take all of them, he could at least take one. In fact, he could take one. They looked to the side. Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan were both smiling, while Zhu Xing's face turned livid. There was a stone tablet next to them, with detailed rules carved on it. Anyone who enters can take a treasure as a reward. It is also the only weapon you can take. You can't use any outside weapon. Violators will be severely punished. If you can't take it, you will be regarded as empty-handed, and you can't use any outside weapon. Besides, you can't attack other challengers. Otherwise, you will be punished. It was engraved clearly on the stone tablet. However, Zhu Xing rushed in and directly rushed forward without even glancing at the stone tablet. It was like he had come to an exam, but he rushed forward without even looking at the questions. First, he wanted to take a large number of star venerable level treasures, and then he wanted to attack Yi Tianyun. Both of them were against the rules. He could only take one treasure. Now that he had taken a large number of them, he would be lucky if he did not die. This is interesting. Yi Tianyun smiled. He found the stone tablet ridiculous when he saw it, which made Zhu Xing feel even more embarrassed. Everyone can take a star venerable level treasure. Tian Xinghuan's eyes lit up. That meant they had 2-star venerable level treasures right away. They were only one away from 3. It was a pity that Tian Yuan could not enter. Otherwise, he would have taken 3-star venerable level treasures. After giving them to the Tian family, Tian Xinghuan would cut off all ties with them. Actually, with their abilities, the Tian family could not do anything to them as long as they lived in seclusion. They were 2 grand star venerables. It would not be easy to deal with them. However, Tian Xinghuan and Tian Yuan were not so heartless. They gave the 3 treasures to the Tian family so that they could cut off all ties with the Tian family. Then let's start choosing our weapons. It seems like this rule will greatly affect the situation later on. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. According to the rules, he could only use this weapon. This meant that there would definitely be a battle later on. If he couldn't obtain this weapon, he would have to leave empty-handed. He would certainly be at a disadvantage if he faced an opponent with a star venerable weapon empty-handed. Then they began to choose their weapons. There were more than 100 weapons, all of which were different and had their own effects. As such, he had to choose carefully. At the very least, he had to choose one that was compatible with him. He had to choose from the attributes and weapon types. The 4 of them immediately began to choose, slowly looking around. There was no need to be afraid of sneak attacks here. Everyone had their own barriers, so there was no need to worry about any big problems appearing. While they were choosing, a figure walked in from outside. When he saw so many treasures, he pounced on them without saying a word. Needless to say, the result was more or less the same as Zhu Xing. He was sent flying and almost suffered heavy injuries. Another impulsive cultivator. Yi Tianyun shook his head and glanced at the cultivator casually. It was a male cultivator in the early stage of Great Star Venerable Realm. His talent was definitely not bad, and he was not old either. What's going on? The male cultivator adjusted his qi and blood, then rose to his feet. When he looked over, he was met with a mocking gaze. So it's the Mujia's Mu Hua. I didn't expect that you would also be able to come in. Zhu Xing said sarcastically from the side. He finally saw someone who was as impulsive as him. So it's Big Brother Zhu. I was a bit lucky and almost couldn't get in. Mu Hua's face was filled with respect. How could he not know who Zhu Xing was? Just the family behind Zhu Xing was enough for him to be respectful. Then, another familiar figure came in. It was Tian Kuangyue. There was no need to mention Tian Kuangyue. He could be considered an old acquaintance. When Tian Kuangyue saw Heavenly Starlink, his eyes narrowed. Starlink, you're here as well. The Mu family and the Tian family still have geniuses who meet the standard. Although they aren't as heaven-defying as the Zhu family and the Chu family, there is still one who meets the requirement of being under 200,000 years old. Heavenly Starlink didn't give him a good look. She was already annoyed by his constant pursuit, so how could she pay attention to Tian Kuangyue? Seeing that Heavenly Starlink ignored him, Tian Kuangyue didn't let her go. Heavenly Starlink, don't be so stubborn. Come back to the Tian family with me. Tian Kuangyue, don't continue this topic with me. It's impossible for me to go back to the Tian family. Heavenly Starlink coldly said. You're really stubborn, too stubborn. I'll beat you until you wake up. Tian Kuangyue coldly snorted and walked towards the treasures. He saw the stone tablet the moment he came in, so he wasn't as impulsive as Mu Hua and Zhu Xing. This made Yi Tianyun quite appreciate it. Or rather, the reason why he came in here was because of Heavenly Starlink. It also meant that the Heavenly Star Ring was even more precious than those treasures. In Tian Kuangyue's heart, this was indeed the case. However, Tian Kuangyue was very loyal, so it was impossible for him to betray the Tian family. This Tian Kuangyue is quite fond of you. Yi Tianyun interrupted from the side. I know he and I are childhood sweethearts, and the family also wants me to marry him. Heavenly Starlink indifferently said, but I don't have a good impression of him, so I only treat him as an older brother. Now, I hate the Tian family and don't want to go back, but he still forcefully dragged me back. Even if I like him, I don't have a good impression of him. Heavenly Starlink was very clear about this. If she still didn't understand this, then she was really stupid. Tian Kuangyue had made it clear that he wanted to marry her. All right then, let's choose our weapons, lest someone else chooses them. Yi Tianyun's eyes quickly focused on a long saber. Last time he used the Long Moon Azure Dragon Saber, he felt that it was quite useful. Now, he decided to choose a long saber. This long saber was engraved with densely packed golden star patterns. If one observed it carefully, they would see that it was a lightning bolt, which represented the power of the thunder attribute. The power of the thunder attribute didn't really suit him. He didn't have any thunder attribute power, but this didn't stop him from using this weapon. The tyrannical power of the thunder attribute was just right for him. This one. Yi Tianyun arrived below the long saber and directly reached out to grab it. As he reached out, he easily penetrated the shield. As long as he didn't absorb a large number of weapons at once, he could easily pass through the shield. Just as he was about to touch the long saber, a terrifying lightning force surged out from the long saber and quickly electrocuted his arm, which had reached in. Chapter 2235. If he wanted to get this star venerable level treasure, he would have to pay a price. As soon as Yi Tianyun put his hand in, his arm was electrocuted by the thunder power of the weapon. As he went deeper, the degree of the electrocution became more and more terrifying, and its power became more and more powerful. The power of this level was quite shocking. It was at least equal to a late-stage star venerable, and it started to attack him fiercely. The reason why it had such power was that the star venerable level treasure was a middle-grade treasure. A medium-grade star venerable level treasure had the power of a late-stage star venerable. If it was a high-grade treasure, wouldn't it be even more powerful? Of course, there was no high-grade star venerable level treasure as far as the eye could see. The highest level was only medium-grade. Yi Tianyun chose it not only because it met his needs, but also because it was already the highest level. He would not choose a lower-level treasure just because it met his needs. Even if it was not suitable for him, he would still choose a higher-level treasure. No matter what, a higher-level treasure was the most powerful. Therefore, even if he was not familiar with that weapon, he would take it first. Fortunately, he was lucky. The long saber in front of him was not only of a higher level, but also suitable for him. The only problem was the attribute. He did not have this attribute in his body, so he could not use the full power of the saber. He was quite satisfied with this. As long as it was useful, he would not ask for too much. Interesting. This power is just so for me. Yi Tianyun continued to reach out to grab that long saber. The long saber kept emitting thunder power, which kept roaring at Yi Tianyun. However, no matter how he roared or how much power he exerted, Tianyun's hand did not slow down at all, as if he could not feel it at all. In fact, the situation was quite troublesome. The speed at which Yi Tianyun's hand went in became much slower, as if he was stuck in a quagmire. His speed became slower and slower. The injury on his arm also became more and more serious. Open! Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. The green demon divine star's star Dharma Laksana burst out from his back. The vitality in the surroundings was quickly absorbed to help him recover from his injury. There was no way to forcefully attack here. Smashing everything in one go would only make the situation worse. Who could smash open the barrier of the violet gold divine pavilion? Even a divine star venerable wouldn't be able to do this. Therefore, everyone had to obediently stretch out their hands to grab it. This was the only way. Looking around, all the trial takers were doing the same. They were all reaching out to grab their favorite weapons. Most of them aimed at middle-grade star venerable level treasures. They weren't fools, and they all knew the benefits of a high-grade treasure. From the weapons they had been using, one could tell how big the gap was. The overall effect would be different if he was stronger by a level. However, whether or not he could obtain it depended on his own ability. Mu Hua was sent flying. His face was deathly pale, and his hand had long since been scorched black. A burning smell wafted in all directions. It was obvious that he had been roasted by the flames to the point where he couldn't get any closer. He was forced to retreat and almost lost half of his body. What a strong power! Mu Hua clenched his teeth. After staring at the fiery red long sword in front of him for a while, he had no choice but to change his target to another weapon of a lower grade. Mu Hua's cultivation wasn't good enough, so he could only give up. He settled for the next best thing, choosing a weapon of a lower grade. It wasn't just Mu Hua. Even the Heavenly Star Ring and Tian Kuangyue had to settle for the next best thing, choosing a low-grade star venerable level treasure. They were all unwilling to give up. They all wanted to get a middle-grade star venerable level treasure, but they had no choice. With their abilities, they could only choose a weapon of a lower grade. However, choosing a weapon of a lower grade was still quite powerful. It was like facing a middle-stage Grand Star Venerable, and it was like fighting someone of a higher grade. Of course, it was still a little worse than fighting someone of a higher grade, but it was still quite difficult. As the rules stated, if they couldn't get it, they would really be fighting empty-handed. Candle Star's side was usually frivolous, but at the moment, they had no choice but to become serious. They focused on grabbing treasures, and in the end, they released their unique star Dharma forms. A giant scarlet wolf appeared behind him. This scarlet wolf was dark red, and every hair on it was like a sharp blade that could pierce through enemies at any time. This was a heavenly star scarlet wolf, the king of wolves. It could control all wolves and make them obey its commands. Besides, it also had great power and speed. After it was summoned, a thin layer of hard hair appeared on its body. To get this treasure, Candle Star had to summon his unique star Dharma forms. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to take it out. Candle Star wasn't the only one. Jing Exen also released her power, and a divine lotus appeared behind her. This divine lotus emitted a faint divine light, as if it could deduce everything and simulate all illusions. After releasing it, Jing Exen's grabbing speed increased immediately. Most importantly, her body was enveloped by a faint divine light, as if it made her invincible. In fact, it wasn't invincible, but she entered a semi-invincible state, so attacks couldn't do any harm to her. As expected of the unique star Dharma forms. Just the power on the surface is already so amazing. Yi Tianyun nodded as he observed the situation at the side. This was the first time he saw a unique star Dharma forms other than himself, so he definitely had to observe more. They released their unique star Dharma forms, but Yi Tianyun didn't need to do that. He just needed to use the star Dharma forms of the others to withstand the attacks. Come out! Zhu Xing let out a loud howl that sounded like the howl of a wolf. Soon after, he fiercely dragged out a huge sword and firmly held it in his hand. No matter how it moved, it couldn't leave his palm. The first one to get a weapon was Candle Star. He was indeed a genius with some ability. It wasn't a problem for him to subdue this treasure. He was usually a playboy, but in terms of power, he wasn't weak. Following closely behind him was Jing Exen. She also relied on her invincible golden body to drag out a jade staff. It landed on her palm, and a faint light floated from the jade staff. It was very compatible with Jing Exen. On the other hand, Yi Tianyun's side was slower. He was reaching inside bit by bit, as if it was very strenuous for him to take out the weapon. Haha, weren't you so arrogant before? Why is it so difficult to take out a weapon now? Candle Star mocked him. He wouldn't let go of any opportunity to embarrass himself. Chapter 2236. Zhu Xing was full of disdain. When he sensed the power released by Yi Tianyun, he didn't take it seriously at all. The main thing was that he didn't have a unique star Dharma idol. As long as he didn't have a unique star Dharma idol, it didn't matter to him. He doesn't even have a unique star Dharma idol. So what if he has a good talent? He is still one level lower. Zhu Xing finally found a sense of superiority in this regard. A unique star Dharma idol was definitely more powerful than a level 6 star Dharma idol. No matter how he improved it, he couldn't surpass the effect brought by a unique star Dharma idol. It was undeniable that it was very difficult to improve a unique star Dharma idol. But no matter how difficult it was, its rarity and foundation couldn't be compared to a level 6 star Dharma idol. Therefore, in Zhu Xing's view, Yi Tianyun was still behind him. Even if he was more talented than him, it didn't matter. A unique star Dharma idol meant that Yi Tianyun's potential was limited. A level 6 star Dharma idol couldn't be improved into a unique star Dharma idol. This was also what Zhu Xing was proud of. Jing Exin was sizing up Yi Tianyun curiously. She thought Yi Tianyun was very mysterious, and Yi Tianyun was very strong. But she didn't know the details. Seeing Yi Tianyun's progress was very slow, she wondered if she had sensed it wrong. She clearly felt that Yi Tianyun was in danger. He was like a lion that could tear people into pieces at any time. Soon, even Mu Hua took out his weapon. It was difficult, but he took it out anyway. After taking it out, Mu Hua was excited for a while. After all, it was a star venerable level treasure. No matter how low it was still a star venerable level treasure. My first star venerable level treasure. Mu Hua was very excited, but she didn't know whether she could take it out. Then Tian Kuangyue also took out a treasure, and so did Tian Xinghuan. Only Yi Tianyun didn't take out his weapon, as if he was stuck in it. It could be said that Yi Tianyun was at the bottom, which was quite unbearable. But it was not necessarily at the bottom. Other cultivators started to come in from the outside. There were still some geniuses from the other big clans. Perhaps they couldn't compare to Jing Xian, but at least they could come in. With these newcomers, Yi Tianyun was no longer at the bottom. However, in the eyes of Zhu Xing and the others, there was no one else who could match up to this standard. Although this weapon was heaven-defying, it wasn't that heaven-defying. It wasn't even a middle-grade star venerable weapon, nor was it a high-grade star venerable weapon. I can't stand it anymore. Little sister Jingxin, shall we go in first? Zhu Xing raised his head and felt very proud. His previous sense of defeat was gone. You go in first. Jing Xian didn't plan to go in first. Instead, she planned to stay here and guard. Zhu Xing looked at Jing Xian and his expression changed. Jing Xian didn't want to go in with him because she wanted to wait for Yi Tianyun to go in together. Little sister Jingxin, are you waiting for him to go in together? What's the point? Don't tell me you're cooperating with him? If you really want to work with him, you might as well work with me. Zhu Xing sneered and said, he can't even take out his weapon now. Maybe he won't be able to take it out when the time comes. His level is even lower than mine. Young Master Zhu, it seems like you misunderstood something. I'm not cooperating with him at all. I just want to stay here and observe some things. Jing Exin faintly said from the side. What's there to see? No matter how the result changes, it won't change the fact that he can't get the treasure. Zhu Xing was very annoyed. He thought they were just wasting time. What's there to see about a loser? When Zhu Xing had just finished speaking, Yi Tianyun finally moved. He gently pulled the long knife out. It seemed like he had done it quite easily. By then, the wounds on Yi Tianyun's arms had disappeared quickly. His skin returned to its original tender state. The most important thing was that there was a lightning mark on his arm. I finally absorbed enough power of thunder. Yi Tianyun was quite satisfied. He hadn't wasted his time. He could have been the first one to take out his weapon. However, it was meaningless to do so. He needed to absorb a bit more power of thunder. When the time came, he would be able to use this weapon to burst out with even more power. At this moment, they immediately understood why Yi Tianyun took so long to take out his weapon. It was purely to absorb a bit more power of thunder. Inside this great array, there was a thunder and lightning array to prevent the challengers from taking out their weapons. Yi Tianyun took advantage of this effect. He fiercely absorbed it and stored it in his body. This kind of practice was generally not recommended. Sometimes, it would cause a conflict with one's own power. It was not worth it. Yi Tianyun didn't need to worry about this. His body could contain all kinds of energy. He didn't need to worry about conflict. Otherwise, he wouldn't have casually absorbed it. Young Master Tianyun really has some ideas. Not only do you want to take away the weapon, you also want to absorb the energy. You're really brave. Jing Xian's beautiful eyes flickered. The smile on her face became wider and wider. It's okay. Anyway, for me, it doesn't matter who takes out the weapon first. Don't tell me there's a reward? Yi Tianyun shook his head. It was obvious who he was mocking. You don't even have a unique star aspect. How dare you be so arrogant? Zhu Xing's face was cold. He lifted his foot and walked inside. His previous mocking words were equivalent to slapping himself in the face. They all desperately wanted to take out their weapons, But Lee Tianyun was better. He absorbed the energy first and then came out. It was obvious who was stronger. However, in his heart, he still felt that he was a level higher than Lee Tianyun. In his eyes, a unique star aspect was a hurdle that Lee Tianyun could never overcome. Lee Tianyun didn't refute. He only revealed a faint smile. No one knew about his situation. That was the best. Let's go. Lee Tianyun followed. Now that he had the weapon, he naturally continued forward. Tian Xinghuan also smiled. She felt that Zhu Xing was really narrow-minded. Little did she know that Lee Tianyun also had a unique star aspect. She had seen it before. Naturally, she knew the truth. Jing Xian didn't say anything. No one knew what she was thinking. However, she followed them at a steady pace. It seemed she was determined to follow Lee Tianyun. As for Tian Kuangyue and the others, they also followed quickly. He just wanted to follow Tian Xinghuan. He wasn't interested in the treasures here. The rest of the cultivators who had just entered started to take out their weapons slowly. No one cared about the result. When they walked into a passage, their surroundings started to become transparent. Then, the scenery outside and even the situation under their feet became transparent. Under their feet was the maze they had just entered. The scenery around them was the scenery outside the purple gold divine pavilion. When they looked down from where they were, they could clearly see many star venerables outside the gate they had just entered. They were waiting for the result inside. Chapter 2237. When they entered the passageway, the situation around them immediately changed. It began to become transparent, which made them very surprised. Not only them, but also the people of the Chu family, who were waiting below, found that the situation was different. When they looked up, they could see Lee Tianyun and the others, as if the whole world had become transparent. In fact, not all the walls had disappeared. It was just that their line of sight had become wider. This allowed them to see the situation above in an instant. What's going on? Chu Hetong and the others were dumbfounded. They had never encountered such a situation. If they looked carefully, they could see their disciples up there. Those who could see it were excited, while those who could not see it were disappointed. They had just entered. Why didn't they appear up there? The cultivators who did not get the treasures would not go to the passage. They would only appear in front of them if they went inside. It's Mu Hua. Mu Jiefeng's eyes lit up. He was excited when he saw the disciple he had sent out. Tian Yueming and the others of the Tian family were also excited when they saw Tian Kuangyue. Tian Kuangyue and Tian Xinghuan went in successfully. I wonder what treasures they got. Tian Yueming was incomparably excited to see two of his own people appear inside. Naturally, he was very excited. Two disciples of the Tian family went in. That's one more than the other families. Tian Shengfeng was excited. Although Tian Xinghuan was against it and chose to leave the Tian family, they were still part of the Tian family in their hearts. Many families had come here in the end. It was not because they had seen something on the map, but because there was some disturbance, so they had rushed over. Since there were such violent disturbances, they naturally flew over. They could not fall behind others. However, they did not know what was going on or how to go in. Chu Hetong and the others did not bother to explain anything. They just let them explore. After fumbling for a while, they finally figured it out. Many elders of the families were there. If they could not figure it out, they would be fools. Those who could cultivate to the level of great star venerables were certainly not fools. They would be able to figure out the problem after spending a little more time. But after entering, they had no idea what was going on inside. After waiting for a while, they saw the situation above them. Unknowingly, Lee Tianyun and the others appeared above them. In addition to being shocked, they were even more delighted. At the very least, they could see their own disciples appear in their line of sight, and they could see their disciples' actions. Not only that, but after the entire purple gold divine pavilion became transparent, a godly light shot into the sky and covered the entire desolate dragon star. Even Crimson Moon Star was covered by this godly light. At the same time, there was a line of words, "Purple Gold Divine Pavilion is open." All cultivators are welcome to enter and train. It was as if he was afraid that others wouldn't know about it. It seemed that after it was triggered, it would be announced to the world and all the qualified cultivators would come over. This situation made many cultivators shake their heads and smile bitterly. It was basically impossible for them to sneak in. Lee Tianyun also saw the situation above. He felt that it was ridiculous for the giant beasts to want to secretly open this place and come in to take the treasures. After it was opened, the purple gold divine pavilion would release energy waves to let all the cultivators know that this was the right door. Why would they need to be secretive? The giant beasts had painstakingly done so much work, but in the end, it was all for naught. However, their plan was considered a success. At least, most of the families and forces were able to enter this place. Some of the weaker ones managed to sneak in. As for what the plan was, Lee Tianyun really couldn't guess. The purple gold divine pavilion is probably doing this to attract all the cultivators' attention here. Lee Tianyun had a general idea of why the purple gold divine pavilion did this. It was to give them a kind of training. This situation had never happened before, so naturally, no one knew about the existence of a training. When it was first opened, most of the cultivators probably couldn't find this door before the purple gold divine pavilion closed. Under such circumstances, it was normal that no one knew about it. Everyone thought that the purple gold divine pavilion had piles of treasures and they could come in and plunder them. Who knew that the real reason was to attract cultivators? As for what these cultivators did, Lee Tianyun really couldn't figure out the purple gold divine pavilion's intentions. Generally speaking, this kind of relic palace was basically to choose an inheritor. However, looking at the purple gold divine pavilion situation, it seemed like that was the case, but it also didn't seem like it. If they really wanted to choose an inheritor, it would have been activated right from the start. They wouldn't have searched for half a day before opening this training passage. As for the details, Lee Tianyun wasn't sure. He could only find out as he moved forward. However, before they could move forward, a few figures followed behind them. The other cultivators glanced at them and ignored them. With so many families entering, there must be many cultivators. Some of them were even wandering around the periphery, the kind that almost couldn't enter. They didn't pay much attention to them. Lee Tianyun focused his gaze and locked onto two of them. These two were not ordinary cultivators. They were from the Giant Beast clan. Indeed, the Giant Beast clan has sneaked in. Lee Tianyun's eyes were cold. Unfortunately, he couldn't attack. Otherwise, he would have killed the two Giant Beast clan members on the spot. Since he couldn't kill them, he could only shift his attention to the front. Zhu Xing and the others had already walked forward, leaving only Tianxing Huan by his side. Even Jing Xian walked forward without waiting for him. As they were all curious about what was in front, they quickly walked forward. "Young Master Yi, what's wrong?" Tianxing Huan asked curiously. "It's nothing. Did you see the two who sneaked in? They are from the Giant Beast clan. If you cross paths with them in the future, please pay more attention," reminded Lee Tianyun. Giant Beast clan. Tianxing Huan widened his eyes and carefully observed the two. He really couldn't figure out what was going on. He didn't even know how he could tell that their true form was the Giant Beast clan. "Okay, let's go." Lee Tianyun took the lead and walked forward. After following them through a long passage, they soon arrived in another space. When he took the last step, what entered his eyes was a vast and boundless forest. Such a familiar scene reminded him of the divine beast domain. An angry roar came from afar, immediately letting them know that there were really giant beasts here. Chapter 2238. What appeared in front of everyone was a forest. The roars of giant beasts could be heard from the depths of the forest from time to time. It sounded very ear-piercing. Especially when they heard the sound waves, they knew that the cultivation of these giant beasts was not low. They were at least great star venerables. They could tell how strong the cultivation of the giant beasts were just by sensing them. It was not because their senses were strong, but because the giant beasts here were indeed very strong. They did not expect to see so many giant beasts here. "Welcome, trial takers. You will be welcomed to the first round. Kill 20 giant beasts to pass this round. The cultivation of the giant beasts does not matter. You only need to kill 20 giant beasts. A line of words came from above. It was accompanied by a dignified voice that spread in all directions. However, this voice could only be heard in the purple gold divine pavilion. As for the outside, the voice did not spread out. Moreover, the words, "Welcome to trial takers," were hung outside. There was no change. Killing 20 giant beasts, is this difficult? Zhu Xing looked disdainful. He had thought that it would be a difficult test. It was just killing 20 giant beasts. With his cultivation, as long as the beasts were not too heaven-defying, he could easily kill them. It was not just Zhu Xing. The other trial takers did not think that it was difficult. They could still kill 20 giant beasts. Little sister Jingxin, do you want to work together to kill the giant beasts? Zhu Xing looked at Jing Xian and asked. Young Master Zhu, thank you for your kindness. I can do this myself. Jing Xian rejected Zhu Xing's kindness. She did not intend to work with him. In that case, little sister Jingxin, you should be more careful. After Zhu Xing expressed his concern, he looked at Yi Tianyun with a provocative gaze and said, Do you dare to compete with me to see who can kill 20 giant beasts first? What is the reward for killing 20 giant beasts first? Yi Tianyun looked at him calmly. There is no reward. This is a competition between men. Do you dare to come? Zhu Xing was provoking Yi Tianyun. He wanted to prove his ability in front of Jing Xian. If this is a competition of dignity between men, then I think you have misunderstood the concept of dignity between men, Yi Tianyun said calmly. Dignity between men is not for doing such stupid things. Candle Star was enraged, but he could do nothing to Yi Tianyun. Since they were here, they had barriers on their bodies, so they could not attack their teammates. Otherwise, he would have attacked Yi Tianyun long ago. So boring, you don't even dare to accept the challenge. Sister Jingxin, if you like this guy, then you really have no taste. Zhu Xing obviously misunderstood Jing Xian and thought that Jing Xian was interested in Yi Tianyun. Young Master Zhu, you must have misunderstood something. I don't have any such thoughts at the moment. Jing Xian replied calmly. Her beautiful eyes were a bit unhappy. She was always misunderstood, so how could she be happy? Tianyun had some good points, but for her, it was definitely not love at first sight. If they wanted to become Dao companions, they needed to be very familiar with each other. Otherwise, even if they became Dao companions, it would not necessarily be a good result. You better not have such thoughts. You are my woman. Zhu Xing said in an unquestionable tone. You might not admit it now, but in the future, I will let you know that I am the only man who is worthy of you. Zhu Xing's words were quite overbearing. Yi Tianyun had a whole new level of respect for him. It was just that it sounded a bit silly. The more overbearing one was, the harder it was to please the other party. No matter what, Jing Xian was not a spineless person. The more overbearing one was, the more Jing Xian would resist. Jing Xian looked at him indifferently. She did not reply. Her eyes were filled with calmness. His words did not set off any waves in her heart. The main reason was that Zhu Xing had said such words many times. Basically, he would say it every time they met. She was tired of hearing it. If she was willing to be with him, they would have been together a long time ago. Why wait until now? After Zhu Xing finished speaking, he glanced at Yi Tianyun with a contemptuous look. Then he quickly disappeared into the forest, ready to kill the giant beast. The rest of the cultivators also followed him into the forest after watching the show. They did not know why they had to do this. In any case, if they wanted to pass through this place, they had to complete the task. It was that simple. On the other hand, Yi Tianyun was not in a hurry to act. His gaze shifted to the two giant beasts. He could see that their faces were a bit ugly. They did not expect that they would have to kill their own kind after entering this place. This made them feel extremely unhappy. In Yi Tianyun's view, the two of them did not expect that there would be such a rule here. They also had to kill giant beasts. However, they still chose to act. No matter what the rules were, they could only act. Of course, they did not find it difficult. Even if it was their own kind, they would not hesitate to act. As long as they achieved their goal, they would do it. They just felt that the rules were against their own kind, which made them feel very unhappy. If it wasn't for the fact that I can't attack, I would really dig out your souls and see what the plan is. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He could only watch as they slipped away. However, there were still many opportunities. He did not believe that there was only one trial. Young Master Tianyun, can we cooperate? Jing Xian suddenly asked. Sorry, I already have a teammate. Yi Tianyun directly rejected her. Cooperating with her was simply a joke. This scheming woman definitely wanted to gather information about him. She wanted to form a team with him. With her strength, killing 20 giant beasts was a piece of cake. Jing Xian's beautiful eyes slightly narrowed. She did not expect that her invitation would be rejected. Let's go, Yi Tianyun said to Tian Xinghuan. After saying that, he did not pay attention to Jing Xian and left. Tian Kuangyue, who was beside him, glanced over and flew to another area. He only acted because he saw that Tian Xinghuan had made a move. Killing 20 giant beasts was not difficult, especially with Yi Tianyun's strength. As long as they were not too nature-defying, he could deal with them. They also had star venerable level weapons. How difficult could it be? This purple gold divine pavilion must have some special purpose. It is unlikely that they are looking for an inheritor. Yi Tianyun shook his head. He felt that it was a bit unusual. Why do you say that? Tian Xinghuan was a bit curious. She found that since Yi Tianyun had come in, he had not been in a hurry. If it had been other challengers, they would have rushed forward. In their opinion, the faster they finished the battle, the faster they could get the treasures. Yi Tianyun, on the other hand, had taken everything slowly. He would only continue to act after observing the area clearly. If it had been other teammates, they would have gone crazy. Weren't they worried that all the treasures would be taken away? Chapter 2239. Filtering combat power? What do you mean? Tian Xinghuan was stunned. He did not understand what Yi Tianyun meant. It means exactly what it means. The purple gold divine pavilion might filter out some powerful cultivators and carry out some missions, Yi Tianyun said with squinted eyes. Aren't missions meant to filter out inheritors and disciples? Tian Xinghuan asked doubtfully. I think the others probably have the same idea as you. They all think it's possible to filter out inheritors and disciples. However, for now, I don't think it's filtering out disciples. Instead, it's filtering out those with stronger combat power, Yi Tianyun guessed. You can tell from the fact that they can't fight each other. This, Tian Xinghuan's eyes narrowed. Yi Tianyun had hit the nail on the head. Now that he thought about it, that was indeed the case. Such a detailed observation made Tian Xinghuan feel like Yi Tianyun was a monster. They had seen many similar palaces that would filter out their disciples. Thinking about it, they did not have any protection. They came here to compete with each other until the strongest, or rather, the top 3 emerged. But now, he couldn't attack the trial takers. This was only the first stage, and Yi Tianyun had already figured it out. His ability to guess was really terrifying. This is just my guess. Now that I know what to do. Yi Tianyun smiled with squinted eyes. Since it's filtering out combat power, you only need to complete the corresponding trial to reach the final step. Unless you run into danger along the way, you will be able to reach the end and pass smoothly. Under such circumstances, there is no need to compete with others. All you need to do is pass the trial. After understanding this, there was no competition to speak of. The biggest problem was to pass the trial. The other problems could be ignored. Then they started hunting giant beasts. There were many giant beasts here. After taking a few steps forward, they saw a great star venerate beast pouncing at them. After discovering the 2 of them, the beast pounced at them without hesitation. The barrier on their bodies did not have any effect on them. When they approached, the 2 clearly saw the barrier ripple, as if it was declaring that it was ineffective against them. I'm coming. Let's finish this quest first. Yi Tianyun smiled and was the first to attack. He quickly flipped his hand and the thunder-long blade appeared in his hand. Then, he leaped forward and drew an arc in the air towards the pouncing giant beast. In the next moment, the giant beast was cut into two halves. A large amount of blood rained down from the sky, dyeing the surroundings red. He could easily kill a great star venerable level beast with a single strike. With this star venerable level long saber, its might was completely different. After dealing with it, there was a flash of light. Soon, a mark appeared on Yi Tianyun's body, indicating that he had successfully killed a giant beast. Now that we've dealt with one, let's move on to the next. Yi Tianyun did not feel any joy in his heart. Everything seemed very calm. There was nothing to be happy about after killing a great star-level beast. To him, this was already a common thing. Tian Xinghuan, who was next to him, was not as calm. Such a ferocious great star-level beast had been killed so easily. This was beyond her understanding. Over the years, she and Tian Yuan had been training outside. They had not had any conflicts with great star-level beasts. Instead, they had fought with other great star-level beasts. However, there was a big difference between the two. Great star-level beasts were stronger than ordinary great star-level beasts. Their strong power and defense were not easy to break. It's your turn to deal with this one. They did not go far before they saw a giant beast on the side. They had discovered the giant beast, and the giant beast had discovered them. They did not hide their auras, so it was normal for the giant beast to discover them. Roar! The next moment, the great star-level beast quickly pounced on them. Tian Xinghuan's eyes turned cold. She held the jade staff in her hand, which shone with ice mirror power. She was ready to fight at any time. She had never fought a great star-level beast before, but she was a great star-level beast. She would not retreat because of this. Especially since she had a great star-level treasure, she was even more confident. Even so, she was still a little flustered. She did not have enough experience in dealing with such a beast. Attack its waist. That's its weakest spot. I'll support you from the side. Don't worry. Just fight. This challenge is to hone the trial taker's experience in fighting with giant beasts. So work hard. Yi Tianyun reminded her. Tian Xinghuan did not reply. Her aura soared. Then she started fighting the great star-level beast. With Yi Tianyun by her side, she felt more at ease. Especially when Yi Tianyun said he would support her, she became more courageous. Tianyun stayed by her side and watched. If anything went wrong, he would help her immediately. Tian Xinghuan was not like him. Even though she had rich battle experience, she would panic when facing giant beasts. There were very few great star-level beasts in this area. They were almost extinct. They had no battle experience in this area. Fighting giant beasts was different from fighting ordinary cultivators. Giant beasts did not know pain. They would fight recklessly with cultivators. If they were not careful, they would be heavily injured. Cultivators were different. Some of them would choose to dodge. They seemed difficult to deal with, but they were not as violent as giant beasts. When they went berserk, no one could stop them. After a fierce battle, Tian Xinghuan finally killed this giant beast. It had taken her a lot of time. She had a great star-level weapon, but it was still difficult to deal with her. They had never seen such a violent and fearless giant beast. She had gone on a rampage and exerted the limits of her body. It's finally done. This great star-level beast is much stronger than ordinary giant beasts. Its defense is especially hard to crack. Even with a great star-level treasure, it will take some skill. Tian Xinghuan went to Yi Tianyun, panting. She had consumed a lot of energy. They were both in the early stage of great star level, so it would take some effort to fight. That's why I said to attack its weakness. That's the most effective way. But take your time. As you get used to it, it will be much easier to deal with it. Yi Tianyun signaled her to go forward and look for the next prey. Tian Xinghuan took a deep look at him. She recalled Yi Tianyun's technique. He could kill it with one strike. At first, she had thought it would be easy. Even if she could not beat Yi Tianyun, she should be able to kill it easily. When she started fighting, she found that was not the case. The real weakness was in a small area. It was very difficult. Chapter 2240. With Yi Tianyun's support, Heavenly Star Ring killed one Grand Star Venerable beast after another. Even the weakest beast here was a Grand Star Venerable. It seemed that without a Grand Star Venerable cultivation, one would not be able to survive here. As Heavenly Star Ring killed more beasts, she became more and more proficient. However, compared to Tianyun, she was still a far cry. She felt that she would not be able to learn Tianyun's direct and efficient methods. After some speculation, she could only say that Tianyun had killed too many beasts to achieve such results. How many beasts did you kill to achieve such results? Heavenly Star Ring could not help but ask. I don't know. I don't really remember. Just take it slow. You will become familiar with it later. Look, after killing a dozen beasts, you are already very proficient. You know how to deal with beasts. If you kill 20 beasts, you will basically become a beast killer. Tianyun said with a smile, I have to say, the number of these 20 is just right. If I kill them all by myself, I can really become proficient in it. This stage is clearly to train the trial takers on how to kill beasts. Once you get out of this stage, you will basically have completed your training and can easily kill Grand Star Venerable beasts. Their methods are basically the same. Unless it is a beast in the form of a cultivator, the way to deal with them is about the same. So, the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion is training trial takers on how to deal with beasts. Heavenly Star Ring immediately understood what he meant. This kind of method would not work on cultivators. Why was it used to kill beasts? The answer was obvious. It was used to deal with beasts. The beasts' forms were almost the same, and their attacking methods were about the same. Under such circumstances, specialized training would be much better. Looks like you feel that something is different. I felt the same way before. The Purple Gold Divine Pavilion has a great relationship with the 5-color Emperor Dragon, but I don't have any relevant records. Tianyun frowned. He didn't know much about the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion, but at least from the perspective of fighting against the giant beast, their purpose was the same. Although it was only the first stage of the trial, he could already deduce many things. Forget it. Let's not overthink it. We'll know once we continue the trial. Tianyun did not say anything else. He continued leading Heavenly Star Ring to kill the huge beasts. As they slaughtered their way forward, they soon succeeded in killing 20 giant beasts. It was not difficult at all. Tianyun was able to kill the giant beast with a single slash. It was extremely easy for him. In the end, the Heavenly Star Ring only needed a few moves to finish off the colossal beasts. It could even deal with mid-stage Grand Star Venerate colossal beasts. This kind of rapid improvement made Tianyun feel that Tian Xinghuan's combat talent was quite good. After killing the beasts, 20 faint marks appeared on their bodies. This meant that they had successfully killed 20 giant beasts. At this moment, they all felt a guiding force coming from the depths of the forest, beckoning them to go deeper. They followed the guiding force and quickly arrived at the real passage. If they didn't kill the 20 giant beasts, they probably wouldn't be able to reach this place. The maze here is really exquisite. If we didn't kill the 20 giant beasts, we wouldn't be able to find the exit at all. Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan could feel the difference in their surroundings as they walked. The surroundings changed rapidly as they walked. It was obvious that they had killed 20 giant beasts, which was why they were allowed to enter. When they arrived at the passage, they saw a few familiar figures. Zhu Xing and Jing Xian were chatting. Zhu Xing was still nagging, praising himself for being the first to arrive. Yo, you're finally here. You're really slow, Zhu Xing said sarcastically when he saw Tianyun coming over. Young Master Tianyun isn't slow at all. If it weren't for bringing me along, he would definitely be the first to arrive. Tian Xing retorted with dissatisfaction. She had put up with Zhu Xing for a long time. If Zhu Xing had said that about her, she would have been furious. She wouldn't be able to keep her composure like Tianyun did. First to arrive here? Are you kidding me? Do you think the giant beasts are easy to deal with? You're the first to arrive? Zhu Xing said with a cold smile, those giant beasts have thick skin and flesh. It would take a lot of effort to kill them. Even if I didn't bring you along, I wouldn't have been the first to arrive. He was quite confident. He was really good at dealing with giant beasts. Really? Young Master Tianyun can kill a giant beast with one knife attack. Can you do that? Tian Xinghuan said sarcastically. One knife attack? How is that possible? Zhu Xing said in disbelief, even if you're bragging, you should base it on the facts. Many parts of those giant beasts are extremely hard. Even star venerable level treasures can't break them easily. Even if they can break them, it won't be a fatal wound, but it will only bring you trouble. Zhu Xing certainly didn't believe it. Jing Exan, who was next to him, raised her eyebrows. She seemed to have heard some shocking news. Nothing is impossible. You can't do it, but it doesn't mean others can't. Tian Xinghuan was determined to help Tianyun. She couldn't sit still after being mocked and looked down on. You're quite arrogant, girl. Zhu Xing said angrily. You don't even have a unique star dharma form. What are you so arrogant about? What else can you say besides having a unique star dharma form? If you don't have a unique star dharma form, you're nothing. Tian Xinghuan retorted angrily. You don't have any abilities, and you don't know anything else. You're also very impulsive. If you didn't have a unique star dharma form, you'd really be at the bottom. Tian Xinghuan's scolding skills were really strong. Tianyun, who was next to her, laughed. What a sharp tongue you have. Zhu Xing said angrily. But I have a unique star dharma form. You're just jealous. Usually, people who don't have any abilities will be jealous of others' abilities. I'm not jealous of you. What's there to be jealous of? You just have a unique star dharma form. Why are you so arrogant? If there were any traps with your personality, you'd definitely be killed there. Tian Xinghuan smiled and pointed at her head. The spiritual intelligence of the head is too low. Even if you have a unique star dharma form, if your spiritual intelligence is too low, you'll still be disabled. You little girl, you're courting death. Zhu Xing roared angrily. Without hesitation, he rushed toward Tian Xinghuan and reached out to slap her. However, just as he was about to attack, he remembered that he couldn't attack other trial takers. He wanted to quickly withdraw his hand. Tian Xinghuan directly collided with Zhu Xing's attack. Boom! Zhu Xing was too slow in withdrawing his hand. Together with Tian Xinghuan's attack, it was equivalent to Zhu Xing attacking. With a series of collisions, Zhu Xing was sent flying by a force. He directly hit the wall and suffered some injuries. See that? This is what a low spiritual intelligence looks like. Tian Xinghuan raised her head arrogantly and mocked. She even looked at Tianyun with a proud expression. Chapter 2241. Tian Xinghuan easily tricked Zhu Xing, and Zhu Xing fell for it. He was so angry that he even forgot the rules. Although he was not as stupid as Tian Xinghuan said, but from the perspective of being easily angered, Zhu Xing was not calm enough. After being provoked by Tian Xinghuan, he immediately lost his mind. This kind of person was easily angered and could easily cause problems. For example, with just a slight provocation, Zhu Xing would immediately lose his mind and pounce over, easily falling into the opponent's trap. Jing Exan shook her head when she saw the situation. With this kind of behavior, so what if he had a unique stellar aspect? If he was set up outside and surrounded by many strong enemies, no matter how unique the stellar aspect was, he would still die. This was also why she did not like Zhu Xing. With this kind of rationality, she really did not want to marry him. If she married him one day, she might even be beaten by Zhu Xing every day. Damn it! Zhu Xing flew over from the side with a pale face. He did not expect that he would be provoked by Tian Xinghuan and lose his mind. Now, he even lost his face in front of Jing Exan, which made him very angry. This kind of personality could not be changed for the time being. He was purely spoiled by the Zhu family. Since he was born, he was spoiled and had everything he wanted. No matter what he did, he was always right. Possessing a unique star law, he was naturally spoiled by the Zhu family. They held him in their hands and feared that he would fall. They held him in their mouths and feared that he would melt. They had grown up with a golden spoon in their mouths. Being so spoiled, he would be tolerated no matter what he did. If anyone offended him in the outside world, their entire family would be exterminated. This was just like the emperor in the lower bound. Whoever dared to offend the emperor would die. Here, the Zhu family was equivalent to the emperor. Zhu Xing was the crown prince. Whoever dared to offend him would be courting death. Under such circumstances, Zhu Xing was very overbearing. Jing Xian did not have such a situation. She was very kind to others. The two families had completely different training methods, unlike the Zhu family. Little girl, I hope you will not be caught by me in the future. Zhu Xing threatened. He was very dissatisfied with Tian Xinghuan. With your intellect, how could you catch me? Tian Xing mocked again. Good, good, good. Zhu Xing clenched his fists and glared fiercely at Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan. Then he turned around and walked inside, no longer paying attention to them. If they continued to stay here, they would only embarrass themselves. After he left, Tian Xinghuan turned to Tianyun and said with a smile, Young Master Tianyun, sometimes you should refute them and block them. Tianyun smiled and shook his head. Actually, there's no need for that. This person doesn't like to shut the other person up with words. He always likes to seal the other person's mouth. That way, they won't be able to speak. Brilliant! Tian Xinghuan gave him a thumbs up. Only Tianyun could do something so violent. With her strength, it would be extremely difficult to deal with Zhu Xing. If not for the protection of the barrier, she would not dare to say such words. As for whether there would be trouble after she left, she was not worried about that. In any case, she and Tian Yuan would be traveling around, and they might not even stay on Crimson Moon Planet. Under such circumstances, there was no need for her to worry about the Zhu family. The Zhu family could only show off their might in Crimson Moon Planet. They could not care about the other major planets. The world was vast, and the Zhu family could not cover the sky with one hand. Let's go. We'll go in together and enter the next stage. Tianyun brought Tian Xinghuan forward and looked at Jing Xian. Jing Xian smiled at him and followed him in. It was obvious that she was waiting for him to come along. Tianyun felt that Jing Xian had also guessed something. Otherwise, she would not have been so unhurried. At the same time, among the many families below, the Zhu family had ugly expressions. They clearly saw the conflict between Zhu Xing and Tian Xinghuan. In the end, it was equivalent to slapping their own mouths. This made the Tian family very embarrassed. Tian Yueming and the others wanted to slap Tian Xinghuan in the face. What did they mean by not provoking them? They actually provoked the Zhu family. The Zhu family was right next to them. What could the Tian family do? On the contrary, Tian Yuan laughed. This little sister of his was really sharp-tongued. When she spoke sarcastically, it was easy to anger people. Elder Tian Yueming, you really raised a good daughter. Zhu Fang looked at him with a cold gaze. This is all a misunderstanding. This girl has been fooling around outside. We did not know about it. Especially when she recently betrayed our family, it made us even more distressed. Tian Yueming immediately distanced himself from Tian Xinghuan and chose to protect himself. Tian Yuan watched from the side with disdain. It was because of this that he chose to leave the Tian family. They did not even have a bit of backbone. What was there to be afraid of? Although the Tian family was worse than the Zhu family, they were not a family that could be easily bullied. Under such circumstances, they still had no backbone. This really made Tian Yuan unhappy. Zhu Fang did not say anything more. They knew about this and did not pursue it. However, Zhu Xing's behavior really made them feel embarrassed. They were not calm and easily angered. They had all kinds of major flaws. The Tian family was also very annoyed. Seeing Tianyun casually walking around inside without any problems, they felt that they had missed out on something. Thinking about how they treated him before, they felt a little regretful. They had a cooperative relationship with Tianyun. If they did not fall out, he would have helped them take care of Tian Kuangyue. Currently, Tian Kuangyue did not appear in the scene. The scene they could see was the starting point and ending point. As for the details of the battle, they could not see them. Perhaps Tian Kuangyue was trapped and temporarily unable to pass. If they had a good relationship with Tianyun, they could have helped Tian Kuangyue and even teamed up with him. Unfortunately, imagination is beautiful, but reality is cruel. Even if they did not fall out with Yi Tianyun, Yi Tianyun would not have teamed up with Tian Kuangyue. They were once enemies, so how could they cooperate with each other? While the families below were discussing, Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan passed through a long passage and soon arrived at another scene, giant rock. There were countless giant rocks here that blocked their line of sight. No one knew what kind of danger lay behind these giant rocks. When they approached, the rules came again. In the giant rock forest, kill 20 giant beasts to pass. Killing giant beasts again. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. Such boring rules, killing giant beasts again and again. Even if the giant beasts here looked different, they were still killing giant beasts. Obviously, they were really training them to kill giant beasts. Chapter 2242. When Yi Tianyun saw the expressions of the two giant beasts, he instantly laughed. They had just killed 20 of their companions, and now they were going to kill another 20. He did not know how many similar trials there were, but from this point he was sure that many trials were related to the giant beast clan. When that time came, they would kill their companions in a frenzy. That would be really funny. Although it was not a big deal for the two giant beasts to kill their own kind, it was still very sullen. No one liked to kill their own kind, especially when there was no benefit in doing so. Other than him and Tian Xinghuan, probably no one else knew about this. Zhu Xing was not here. After seeing the rules, he probably directly killed his way forward and did not wait for them to come over. After being humiliated, Zhu Xing did not dare to stay here anymore. He could only kill his way out and attack those giant beasts. Let's finish the trial too. Yi Tianyun said with a smile, and with heavenly star ring, he rushed forward. Jing Xian's beautiful eyes narrowed. Looking at Yi Tianyun's back as he left, she also followed him to kill the giant beasts. As they were not in a cooperative relationship, Jing Xian still acted alone. Roar! A loud roar came from the side of the giant rock. Following that, a giant beast covered in thick stone scales pounced over. Yi Tianyun raised his saber and easily cut this giant beast in half. Even though it had thick stone scales, he could still find the weakest spot and cut it in half. How could he kill it with one slash? Tian Xinghuan was speechless. After inspecting the giant beast's defense, it was obvious that the giant beast's defense was much stronger than before. The thick stone scales didn't seem to have any gaps. Even in this case, Yi Tianyun still found the weakest point of the giant beast and cut it in half. When she saw the cut, Tian Xinghuan's heart trembled. It was quite perfect. If it were her, she would definitely not be able to do it so perfectly. She had killed many giant beasts before, so she was more familiar with killing giant beasts. However, familiarity was one thing, but there was still a huge gap. Especially the giant beast in front of her. It was completely different from the giant beasts she had encountered before. Its various structures and the stone scales on its body were much more difficult to kill than before. It could be said that they were not of the same species. She had to find the detailed weakness to kill them. This required her to get used to it and find the weakness again. Compared to the giant beasts she had killed before, the biggest difference was its defense. Previously, Zhang Xian had been able to injure his opponent with just a casual slash. Now, however, he could no longer do so. If he were to casually slash, he would only hit the thick stone scales. But for Yi Tianyun, this new giant beast was not a problem at all. Once you master it, you can also kill it in one strike. Yi Tianyun comforted him. How proficient must I be to be able to do this? Tian Xinghuan smiled bitterly. She felt that she would have to kill at least a few hundred to achieve this. Don't be discouraged, take your time, there is no need to rush. Yi Tianyun said. Let's go, I will support you. Tian Xinghuan nodded heavily. This was the only thing they could do at the moment. They continued to kill the giant beasts. As they had just started, Tian Xinghuan needed to spend a lot of time to kill one giant beast. She became more familiar with the second giant beast and slowly improved. Finally, after killing more than 10 giant beasts, she mastered some techniques. Perhaps she could not compare to Yi Tianyun, but overall, it was much smoother. She killed the giant beasts much faster. After killing 20 giant beasts, there was another guiding force. Just like before, as long as they reached the corresponding value, they would be able to reach the exit. When they arrived, they saw Jing Xian was still waiting there. She was much faster than them. Young Master Tian Yun, we are slower this time. Jing Xian smiled. Young Master Zhu went in long ago. He did not wait for us. The giant beasts here are harder, so it is more difficult. Tian Yun said with a smile. As for him, he just wants to rush all the way to the end of this trial as soon as possible. Young Master Tian Yun, do you have any thoughts about this trial? Jing Xian finally asked. She had not asked before, but after passing this trial, she could not help but ask. I don't have any thoughts. Won't we know the situation if we kill our way in? Tian Yun did not say his guess. He did not need to discuss this with Jing Xian. They were not familiar with each other. God knows what she would find out from him. Jing Xian's eyes flashed with disappointment. She stared at Tian Yun and said, "You are right. Let's continue the trial." After saying that, she turned around and walked in, ignoring Tian Yun and Tian Xinghuan. Young Master Yi, she deliberately waited here for you. You are giving her the cold shoulder. Tian Xinghuan smiled. When there was no one else around, she would only call Tian Yun Young Master Yi. You know how capable she is. If you chat with her more, she might be able to analyze what I'm saying. Although there are no secrets, it is not a good thing to be seen through. Tian Yun said with a smile. If you chat with her more, Sister Jing Xian might fall in love with you. When the two of you become Dao companions, it will be amazing. Tian Xinghuan teased. No, I have no interest in her. Tian Yun was not interested in this topic at all. There is no need to say such things. I already have a wife. As he said the last sentence, his expression became very serious. Tian Xinghuan could not help but stick out her tongue. She did not expect Tian Yun to be so single-minded. Logically, there was no need for such an expert to be so single-minded. The key was the situation of his Dao companion. If his cultivation was too low, he would not be worthy. Tian Yun did not have such thoughts. Instead, his thoughts shifted to the situation outside. They should be making their move. Tian Yun's eyes flickered. This time, he was not the only one who entered. His forces were also coming. This was a plan that had been formulated long ago. Soldiers were trained for 1,000 days to be used in a single moment. Such a grand purple-gold divine pavilion definitely needed to send forces in to investigate. The most important thing was to guard against the giant beast clan. They had to plant spies everywhere. If there were any problems, they would inform him immediately. Informing him was very simple. He had an avatar outside. As long as he informed his avatar, he would know what was going on outside. There was no way to send a message through a voice transmission. Immediately, Tian Yun led his people to the next stage. Chapter 2243. Tian Yun and Tian Xinghuan walked through the long passageway and soon arrived at the next stage. As soon as they arrived, they heard a powerful voice. You have to kill 20 giant beasts to pass this trial. The rules this time did not surprise Tian Yun. He had speculated that it was related to the giant beast clan. Sure enough, the third stage of the trial was related to the giant beast clan, and they had to kill 20 of them as well. The scene in front of them changed slightly and turned into a world of ice and snow. Snow danced in front of them and almost blocked their vision. In this snow, they could vaguely see a giant beast in the distance. It was covered in a thick armor of ice and snow and emitted a faint white light. Zhu Xing and Jing Xian immediately rushed out to kill the 20 giant beasts. Although it was the same as before, they had no choice but to carry it out. Moreover, these giant beasts looked different, so it would be more difficult to deal with them. This could be seen from the first and second stages. The difficulty had increased by a few levels. It was the same now. In terms of cultivation, these giant beasts did not increase much, but the change in their bodies increased their defense and power. Let's go too. Tian Yun did not waste time. He led Tian Xinghuan forward and started hunting for giant beasts. Soon they found the first giant beast. The biggest difficulty of the giant beasts here was their ice and snow armor. Not only was it hard, but it also contained extreme cold ice. After it was released, it could slow down the enemy. However, this did not affect Yi Tianyun's ability. He easily killed these giant beasts with one slash. Tian Xinghuan was more difficult. It took a lot of effort to deal with them, and he also had to adapt to the giant beasts here. Due to the experience from the previous two stages, he quickly became familiar with dealing with them. Although the giant beasts were different, they were similar in nature. They were all at the giant beast level. It was just a targeted attack. The 20 giant beasts were quickly killed. Yi Tianyun was quite satisfied with Tian Xinghuan's rapid improvement. His talent might not be heaven-defying, but his comprehension ability was quite good. This time, when they arrived at the passageway, they bumped into Zhu Xing and the others. When Zhu Xing saw them, his face darkened. He did not expect Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan to arrive with them. Previously, both Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan had taken a long time to arrive. Whether it was the first stage or the second stage, they were much slower than them. Who would have thought that in the third round he would catch up with them and be on par with them? Moreover, they had entered earlier than Yi Tianyun and the others. Under such circumstances, they were still able to arrive at the same time. This was truly shocking. How is this possible? How can you guys be so fast? I came in before you guys. Zhu Xing felt that it was inconceivable. Logically speaking, they should be slower. He felt that it would not be easy to deal with the giant beast this time. He would have to put in more effort. Who knew that Yi Tianyun and the others would be faster than him? Young Master Zhu, I didn't expect that we would be able to arrive together with you. Could it be that you meditated and cultivated along the way? Tian Xinghuan did not forget to mock others. Previously, Zhu Xing had mocked them for being too slow. Now it was their turn to mock them. That's right. I had some enlightenment along the way, so I rested for a while. You guys caught up. Zhu Xing shamelessly lied. He did not want to admit that Tian Xinghuan and the others had surpassed him. Oh, I told you that you were going to cultivate and you really did. It's snowing everywhere. Aren't you afraid of freezing to death by cultivating here? Tian Xinghuan's eyes were filled with mockery. This Zhu Xing was really shameless. Speaking of which, Jing Xian had also arrived here. Otherwise, he would not have been so shameless. What do you know? I can't be bothered to argue with you guys. I hope that you guys can arrive at the same time as me in the next trial. Zhu Xing glanced at Jing Xian and continued to rush forward. He did not continue to stay here. He had already lied. How could he still have the nerve to stay here? He could only turn the tables in the next round. Young Master Tianyun, you guys are quite fast. You actually caught up in such a short time? Jing Xian was quite surprised. She did not know how they did it. Of course, I increased my speed. Naturally, I caught up very quickly. Tian Xinghuan even praised himself. However, he quickly lowered his head and sighed. However, it's because of me that I slowed down my speed. If young Master Tianyun came alone, I don't even know how fast he would be. Jing Xian narrowed her eyes and looked at Yi Tianyun. She always felt that she could not see through Yi Tianyun. It would be great if she could team up with Yi Tianyun. However, Yi Tianyun did not intend to team up with her at all. If it were any other cultivator, they would have been more than happy to do so. Whether it was ability or appearance, Jing Xian was definitely one of the best. No one could reject her invitation. She was the only one who could reject others. However, Yi Tianyun rejected her. He was really a weirdo. Jing Xian was not ashamed or angry. If he did not want to team up, then so be it. She would definitely be able to find out more in the future. It seems that young Master Tianyun is quite experienced in dealing with giant beasts. Jing Xian began to probe again. It's all right. Let's not talk too much. Let's go to the next stage. Yi Tianyun cupped his hands and led Tian Xinghuan to the next stage. If he continued to chat with her, she would definitely continue to probe. He did not have the time to be entangled with Jing Xian. Jing Xian looked at their backs as they left. Her red lips parted slightly and she muttered, This is really interesting. I must investigate you thoroughly and find out what kind of background you have. Jing Xian's beautiful eyes flashed with determination. No one could stop her from doing something she had decided on. After passing through the long passage, they proceeded to the next stage. The next stage was still the same, killing giant beasts. It was not that they could not kill giant beasts. It was just that they felt a little bored along the way. Normally, they would be fighting for treasures. What was the point of killing these giant beasts? However, they could only do this. Perhaps they could find some treasures as they continued to kill. The fourth stage of the trial turned into a fiery region again. It was completely different from the third stage. There's nothing much to say. Let's kill. Yi Tianyun did not find it boring. In fact, he found it pretty good. That was because all the giant beasts he killed along the way were great star venerables. He had obtained quite a lot of star energy, which made him feel quite satisfied. Although breaking through now required astronomical amounts of star energy, if he accumulated it bit by bit, it would be quite worthwhile to use it to become an astral tattoo master, let alone increase his cultivation. Chapter 2244. Tian Xinghuan increasingly disliked Zhu Xing, so she wanted to slap him in the face. Zhu Xing was so arrogant, looking down on everyone just because he had a unique stellar aspect. Slap his face. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly. Tian Xinghuan was really ruthless when she wanted to. Indeed, no matter who they provoked, they could not provoke women. They were especially vengeful. That's right. Let's not delay any further. Let's start now. Tian Xinghuan really wanted to see Zhu Xing's twisted face, to see how he could still be so smug. Yi Tianyun nodded and rushed forward with Tian Xinghuan. This time, the behemoth had also changed. Its body was covered in flames, and before they got close, they could feel the terrifying flames rushing towards them. If they fought it head-on, the more they attacked the behemoth, the more they would be burned by the flames. However, no matter how terrifying the behemoth was, it was still a matter of one slash for Yi Tianyun. With a simple slash, it was still split into two. Tian Xinghuan's killing speed had also greatly increased. Previously, she needed to kill a few behemoths to become more proficient. Now that she had only killed the first beast, she seemed to be very familiar with it and could easily kill the behemoth. This situation was like a veteran slaughtering behemoths, and she seemed to be quite relaxed. You are getting more and more proficient. This is only your first time encountering a flame beast, and you can already deal with it so easily. You have improved a lot during this period of time. Yi Tianyun could not help but praise. If this continued, she would probably be stronger than him. This is all thanks to young Master Yi's guidance. It's much better than my brother's. Tian Xinghuan was extremely excited. She felt that she had improved by being able to kill the behemoth so smoothly. If Brother Tian was here, he would definitely be unhappy. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. I'm speaking the truth. My brother's teaching level is not as good as yours. With a little guidance, he will clearly know how to deal with behemoths. Tian Xinghuan said with a smile, in the future, wherever you go for training, you must bring me along. Don't worry. Now that you fellows have joined my force, if there is any danger in the future, I will bring you fellows along first, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. All right, it's a deal. Not only was Tian Xinghuan not afraid, she even felt a little excited. She loved this kind of excitement. Moreover, this mission is definitely dangerous. Don't forget what our real goal is. Yi Tianyun smiled. Tian Xinghuan's expression turned serious. Their true goal was to repel the giant beast race and destroy their ambitions. They came here to train, but it was just to see if there were any treasures. The battle would reach its climax when the giant beasts made their move. Immediately after, they continued to kill the giant flame beasts. As they slashed their way forward, 40 giant flame beasts were easily killed. Yi Tianyun had reaped a bountiful harvest and obtained a considerable amount of star energy, which made him very satisfied. At this rate, it would not be a problem for him to break through to the late-stage Grand Star Venerate. At least, based on the current situation, he did not feel any pressure at all. Since he assisted Tian Xinghuan in killing the giant beasts, he could also obtain star energy. Perhaps he could not obtain all of it, but it was better than nothing. Every time Tian Xinghuan killed the giant beasts, Yi Tianyun would make the first move and add a small slash. That way, he would be able to obtain star energy. Tian Xinghuan was puzzled by this. She did not know why Yi Tianyun would do this. It's over. Let's hurry to the exit. Tian Xinghuan was extremely excited. Compared to the third stage of the trial, their speed was much faster. Under these circumstances, she felt that there was hope of surpassing Zhu Xing. As expected, when they arrived at the exit, they were indeed the first to arrive. Zhu Xing and the others had not arrived yet. It was easy to find out. The passage would indicate whether anyone had passed. If someone had passed, there would be a sign. Now that there was no sign, it meant that no one had passed. Great, we finally surpassed them. Tian Xinghuan was extremely excited. Her face was flushed. How could she not be happy to surpass Jing Xian and Zhu Xing, the two great geniuses? Yi Tianyun smiled and shook his head. It seemed that Tian Xinghuan had almost forgotten their goal. They had just stated their goal earlier, and now they were so happy that they did not know what to do. This was nothing like a great star venerable, but he could understand Tian Xinghuan's thoughts. They could not stand those high and mighty geniuses who were so arrogant just because their families were powerful and they had some talent. Look at Jing Xian. She doesn't have such arrogance, and her attitude towards others is quite good. However, Tianyun did not like her. This woman was too scheming. If he was not careful, he would be plotted against. After they waited there for a while, Zhu Xing hurried over. When he saw the two of them guarding the passage, his expression changed. You're so fast? Young Master Zhu, what's the reason this time? Are you going to cultivate along the way, or are you going to rest along the way? Tian Xinghuan looked at him with a smile. She was starting to beat him when he was down. At this moment, Jing Xian also came over. Her speed was about the same as Zhu Xing's. According to the actual situation, she was faster than Zhu Xing. After all, Zhu Xing was in the middle stage of Great Star Venerable, while Jing Xian was only in the early stage of Great Star Venerable. If their speeds were about the same, Jing Xian would definitely be faster. How can you be so fast? Are you cheating? Zhu Xing did not refute this time. He did not believe that the two of them could be faster than him. Not to mention that Yi Tianyun is alone, now he is also carrying a burden. How can he be so fast? Cheating? Then you can try to cheat and surpass us. Tian Xinghuan rolled his eyes at him. How could he come up with such a reason? Zhu Xing's face was ashen. He didn't say a word and walked forward, ignoring them. He did not know how to refute this time. They were fast, and there was nothing to refute. He did not feel good after being humiliated like this. When he approached them, he suddenly said coldly, "Fight with me if you can." What he was most proud of was his fighting power. Everything else was just SOS. No problem. If the protective shield is removed, I will fight with you anytime. Yi Tianyun replied indifferently. He had been unhappy with Zhu Xing for a long time, but he was too lazy to refute him. If he wanted to use words, he would use his fists to seal his mouth. Good. Zhu Xing glanced at them coldly and continued walking forward, ignoring them. Jing Xian walked over and said with a smile, "This speed is really shocking. Young Master Tianyun, what method did you use to achieve this?" "Nothing much. I just fought my way here." Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders and said, "Sister Tianxing, you are just SOSO in this aspect. You improved so quickly. Looks like young Master Tianyun's method is really extraordinary." Jing Xian smiled faintly. "I hope you can show me your ability when you fight with young Master Zhu." Chapter 2245. There will be a chance. Yi Tianyun replied casually, which was equivalent to answering Jing Xian's question. "I'll be waiting." Jing Xian replied with a smile. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a special light. She was indeed looking forward to Yi Tianyun's strength. She wanted to study Yi Tianyun's strength in depth to see how strong he was. Then they continued forward. After passing through the tunnel, they finally arrived at a different area. In front of them was no longer killing giant beasts. Instead, there were 5 doors. Among them, the door in the middle was the largest. The other 4 doors led to unknown places. Zhu Xing stayed at the side and frowned. He did not know what to choose. Yi Tianyun and the rest saw a rule above them. Defeat the guardians of the 4 doors and you will receive different rewards. If you defeat all the guardians, you will receive the purple gold key to open the main door. Zhu Xing was considering which door to deal with first. Every guardian was different. Naturally, the difficulty was different too. Let's just pick this one. Zhu Xing randomly chose a door and rushed in. After opening the door quickly closed and did not open again. It seemed that only after Zhu Xing failed or succeeded could people continue to challenge the door. It's here. At this moment, 2 figures rushed in from outside the door and pounced into the other 2 doors. Before Yi Tianyun and the rest could enter, they were already forced in. It's the giant beasts! Tian Xinghuan exclaimed. He did not expect them to arrive so quickly. This did not surprise Yi Tianyun. They were originally from the giant beast race. It was very easy to deal with the giant beasts. After all, they were of the same race. They definitely knew their weaknesses. As for the giant beasts here, they would not let the 2 beasts kill them. As long as their cultivation was not too high, these giant beasts would not be willing to be killed. Instead, they would choose to resist. Moreover, these giant beasts had been staying here all the time. They did not have any team spirit or sense of ownership. Even if they were of the same race, they would still be killed without mercy. Therefore, they spent a lot of effort, but their overall speed was still relatively fast. If they could kill the giant beasts here at will, that would definitely be the fastest speed. With a wave of their hand, a large number of giant beasts would pounce on them. They would be able to kill them at will. They would still be ranked first. However, he was still following closely behind them, so he was still quite fast. These bastards, they went in first. There's only 1 door left. Tian Xinghuan panicked. She did not know what they would get if they opened the door in the middle, but it was definitely not a good thing if they went in first to deal with the guards. There was only the 3 of them left at the last door. Who would go in first? Young Master Tianyun, there's only 1 door left. Why don't you go in first? Jing Xen gestured for Yi Tianyun to go in first. She wasn't in a hurry. No, Miss Jing Xen should go first. I'm not in a hurry, Tianyun smiled and said. Tian Xinghuan was overjoyed. He quickly pulled on Yi Tianyun's clothes and said, we can't miss this opportunity. Hurry up and go in. If someone else steals it from us, we'll be in trouble. In this trial, whoever defeated the 4 guards first would be able to enter. No one knew what was behind the gate, but there were definitely many treasures behind it. Especially now, whoever went in first and passed would obtain a quarter of the qualifications. This was a race against time to see who was faster. This opportunity should be given to Miss Jing Xen. After all, Miss Jing Xen tried to persuade us about the matter with the Chu clan, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. Tian Xinghuan didn't expect Yi Tianyun to be so polite. Even at this time, he was still so polite. She had to admit that he was quite gentlemanly. Jing Xion's beautiful eyes flickered. She also didn't expect such an outcome. Yi Tianyun was too polite. It wasn't that she wasn't anxious, but she wanted to see what Yi Tianyun would do. She didn't expect Yi Tianyun to be so gentlemanly and give her the opportunity first. All right then, I'll accept this favor. Jing Xen smiled and walked forward without hesitation. Then she disappeared through the last door. After they all entered, only Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan were left in the hall. Tian Kuangyue and the others hadn't arrived yet, but it was only a matter of time before they arrived, unless they died along the way. The scene here made the Chu clan's people's faces quite strange. Yi Tianyun and the others actually gave up such a good opportunity. They could all see what this meant. Perhaps only 1 person would be able to enter in the end. But now, Yi Tianyun seemed to have a mental problem and gave up the opportunity. The Tian clan's people's faces were also very interesting. They all felt that Yi Tianyun was really crazy, letting go of such a good opportunity. However, they paid more attention to the 2 cultivators who broke in. They had never seen their faces before, but they were the first ones to enter, which made them feel even more ridiculous. For a moment, they were all guessing the identity of the two cultivators and which force they belonged to. You guys are really stupid to cooperate with him. Tian Shengfeng and the others revealed a mocking look. They felt that Tian Yuan and Yi Tianyun's cooperation was really a wrong choice. Really? I think at least it's much better than cooperating with you. Tian Yuan's expression was indifferent. He didn't regard these people in front of him as his clansmen. He had completely cut off relations with them a long time ago. Even if his biological father was standing in front of him, he wouldn't feel the slightest bit of emotion. Humph, at least our people won't give up the benefits to others at such a critical moment. Tian Yuan coldly snorted and retorted without any trace of politeness. Really? But you don't even see him. Maybe he died on the way? Tian Yuan said sarcastically. Impossible. Tian Kuangyue definitely has no problem with these trials. Tian Shengfeng said sternly. Even if he rushed over, do you think he can compete with them? Tian Yuan coldly snorted. Why can't he compete with them? Anyway, the opportunity will be given to others. Who knows, maybe he will generously give it up. Tian Shengfeng retorted again. While there was a fierce quarrel outside, Yi Tianyun's mouth curled into a smile. Everything was under his control. Young Master Yi, now we can only wait here for others to come out. Tian Xinhuan sighed. Originally, they could all go in, but who knew that the two giant beasts would take advantage of the situation and enter? Who said we need to wait for others to come out? Yi Tianyun laughed. Come, let's open the door. What, open the door? Tian Xinhuan was startled, wondering if he had heard wrong. Isn't the door closed? How do we open it? With the key, we can open it, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. With the key? Tian Xinhuan was stunned. Where would the key come from? Chapter 2246. Yi Tianyun had been thinking about how to use the key. Now, the answer was obvious. It was obvious that the door in front of him corresponded to the purple gold key. In this way, he didn't need to pass the other levels and could easily open the door. Others were fighting bitterly to get the key as soon as possible. Now, the key was in Yi Tianyun's hands. It was really funny. Although they could still get the key after passing the 4 levels, it would be too late by the time one of them got the key. Yi Tianyun didn't even know how many treasures he had taken to open the door with the key. Follow me. Yi Tianyun brought the heavenly star ring to the front of the door and looked at it. There was a keyhole on it. As long as the key was inserted, the door could be opened. While he was looking at it, the people watching below laughed. Is he trying to break the door by force? How naive. Hee, maybe he thinks he has the key and can open the door. Key? Where can the key come from? The key can only be obtained by defeating the 4 guards. They all laughed and thought that Yi Tianyun was wasting time. It was such a good opportunity, but now he was giving it away. How could he not waste his time? While the people were laughing at him, Yi Tianyun really took out a key. It was glowing with purple light and looked very magical. There really is a key. Does he think he can open it just because he can insert it? Hee, maybe he can open it. He just happened to find a key that can be inserted. What a joke. If it can be opened, I also have a key that can be inserted. Would there be people in the purple gold divine pavilion? That's right. How can he get the real key without defeating the 4 guards? When they saw this situation, they almost cried from laughing. They had seen stupid people, but they had never seen such a stupid person. The rules clearly said so. Did he think that if the keyhole could be inserted, it could really be opened? Many of the keyholes were about the same size, but how could it be opened after being inserted? A real key would have a corresponding star pattern inside it. This meant that after the star pattern was filled in, the entire star pattern would be completely lit up. Only then would the door truly be opened. Therefore, if a random key was stuffed in, it would not match. Just when they all thought that Yi Tianyun's head had been kicked by a donkey, the entire door suddenly blossomed with dazzling light. The star patterns on the door were all lit up. Soon, the door let out a rumbling sound and slowly opened. The group of cultivators who had mocked them were dumbfounded and speechless. The whole place fell into a dead silence. Those who had previously mocked Yi Tianyun were now speechless. Their mouths hung open as if they were eating air. It's really open?" One of them suddenly spoke up. He was also scared silly by this scene. Inside, Tian Xinghuan was also shocked. He did not expect that Yi Tianyun really had the key. She had thought that Yi Tianyun was joking. Who would have thought that he really had the key and had even opened it? "I told you that he had the key, didn't I?" Yi Tianyun smiled. Sure enough, this purple gold key could be opened. If it could not be opened, it would be embarrassing. "Where did you get this key?" Tian Xinghuan was dumbfounded. "I picked it up outside." Yi Tianyun made up an excuse. Who would believe that? Tian Xinghuan rolled her eyes at him, but did not care too much. Anyway, it was fine as long as the door could be opened. There was no need to care about where Yi Tianyun found it. As long as he found it, it was fine. Immediately, she became very excited. Now, we are much ahead of them. We don't even need to defeat any guards to enter. If they come out and find out that we have entered, I wonder if they will die of anger. No wonder young Master Yi was so calm. You already had the key, but you still pretended to be generous and let Sister Jingxin in. I can see that your actions just now have improved Sister Jingxin's impression of you, but the reality is completely different. Tian Xinghuan wanted to laugh when she thought about what happened just now. If Yi Tianyun had pursued Jingxin, there would definitely be no chance. Forget it, I don't need her to improve her impression of me. She is too smart. If I stay by her side, I won't even know when I will be schemed against. Yi Tianyun shook his head. Such a woman was too scheming. It would not be easy to be friends with her. Let's not talk about this. The door is about to open. Let's go in and see what's inside. Okay. Tian Xinghuan was extremely excited. This time, she had picked up a bargain. She did not have to do anything, but she could enter with them to fight for the treasure. How could she not be excited? After the door opened a gap, they quickly went in. After the two of them entered, the door quickly closed. As for the key, it was taken away by Yi Tianyun. It would not be left above. After they entered, the people watching below could not see the details at all. They all wanted to know what was inside the door. But now they were not allowed to see. They could only see the outermost part. Damn it, they went in. Chu Hetong and the others stomped their feet in anger. When they thought about the people they sent in defeating the guards, they felt very angry. Even the Zhu family did not look good, let alone the Chu family. They had paid such a high price, but it was not as good as Yi Tianyun's own key. Brother Yi, you really have a lot of tricks up your sleeve? Tian Yuan smiled. He felt that things were not so simple. Given Yi Tianyun's character, how could he let others get ahead of him? The expressions of the Tian family became even more gloomy. Previously, they had mocked Tian Yuan for being a fool for cooperating with Yi Tianyun. Now, they did not know who was the real fool. While the situation outside was changing, Yi Tianyun entered the door with Tian Xinghuan. As soon as they entered the door, a wave of purple spirit qi surged towards them and entered their bodies. Immediately, they felt their bodies strengthening bit by bit. Even their cultivation levels were improving. Tian Xinghuan's improvement was the most obvious. She was about to break through to the mid-stage star venerable realm. Yi Tianyun would not waste it either. He started absorbing the spirit qi. However, he was increasing his star energy. It was increasing by more than 1,000,000 star energy. It was not a lot, but at least it would keep increasing. It looked like he could still absorb it for a long time. If he accumulated it, he might really be able to break through to the late-stage star venerable realm. Chapter 2247. Yi Tianyun and Tian Xinghuan stayed inside and absorbed the purple gas like crazy. After absorbing for a while, the purple gas in the surroundings quickly thinned. Tian Xinghuan had started to break through to the middle stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm. As for Yi Tianyun, his star energy had also reached the late stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm. I have reached the star energy needed to break through to the late stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm. Let's break through then. Yun did not hesitate. As long as he could break through, he would not let go of the opportunity. After deducting a large amount of star energy, he had basically used up all his star energy. Ding! Congratulations to player Tunyin for successfully breaking through to the late stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm. Finally, after killing so many giant beasts and absorbing a large amount of purple gas, he could finally break through to the late stage of the Great Star Venerable Realm. However, if he wanted to break through to a higher level, he would need to improve his Star Dharma idol. His Star Dharma idol was currently at the 4th level. This meant that he would need to upgrade it to the 5th level to increase his cultivation. If he wanted to upgrade to the 5th level of the Star Dharma idol, he would need even more precious divine medicine. The entire Red Moon planet basically had none. Otherwise, there would have been no divine star venerables. Once such a divine medicine appeared, the entire Red Moon planet would go crazy. To break through to the 5th level, the two known divine medicines were the Venerate Breaker Flower and the Star Divine Grass. These two extremely precious divine medicines could not be found on the Red Moon planet. As for the Desolate Dragon planet, there was no need to mention it. However, Yun was not disheartened. Perhaps the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion had these two divine medicines. Venerate Breaker Flower and Star Divine Grass. Yun's eyes flashed. So many great star venerables had come here to search for these two divine medicines. Star venerable level treasures were precious, but breaking through one's own strength was the most important. If one had the cultivation of a divine star venerable, even if the other party had a star venerable level treasure, they would still be able to crush them with a single slap. After the breakthrough, Yun shifted his gaze to the surroundings. The purple chi here was not enough to satisfy him anymore. The heavenly star ring was still in the process of breaking through, so Yun stood up and looked around. Looking around, there were no special treasures, nor were there any control panels. It was just an empty room. As he took a few steps forward, a beam of divine light suddenly descended from the empty space in front of him. A handsome man dressed in purple appeared in his line of sight. After the purple-clothed man slowly landed, he looked at him with a smile on his face. A strong sense of familiarity surged from his body, making people feel very close. Looking at him, it was as if they had known each other for many years. Yun looked at him, using his super appraisal eyes to scan him up and down. Detailed information immediately appeared in front of him. Purple Cloud Star Emperor, a wisp of the Purple Cloud Star Emperor's divine consciousness. It has the cultivation of a divine star venerable and controls everything in the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. Purple Cloud Star Emperor. Yun's eyes narrowed. He did not expect the purple-clothed man in front of him to have such a background. However, he had never heard of the title of Purple Cloud Star Emperor. It could only be said that there was too little information here, and it was too long ago. The Wild Dragon Star and the Crimson Moon Star did not know about the past. The most terrifying thing was that just a wisp of his divine consciousness had the cultivation of a divine star venerable. His real cultivation was probably the Star Emperor, a legendary title. Hey, you're the heir of the 5-colored Emperor Dragon. After sizing up Yun for a moment, the Purple Cloud Star Emperor immediately recognized what his unique starry Dharma power was. My lord, you know the 5-colored Emperor Dragon? Yun's heart sank. Being recognized was either a good thing or a bad thing. He did not know what the relationship between the Purple Cloud Star Emperor and the 5-colored Emperor Dragon was. If they were enemies, it would be really scary. Perhaps the Purple Cloud Star Emperor would kill him right away. On the other hand, if he had a good relationship with the 5-colored Emperor Dragon, he could reap benefits. This was a 50-50 chance, which was equivalent to a gamble. Although they had been dealing with the giant beasts along the way, and logically speaking, they should be on the same side as the 5-colored Emperor Dragon, but who could say for sure? But from the looks of it, they should not be enemies. Of course I know him. He's my sworn enemy. How could I not know him? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor smiled calmly. Yun's heart sank. Was this not a sign that he was doomed? Since they were sworn enemies, wouldn't that mean they would fight to the bitter end? He immediately prepared the super teleportation god stone for escape. It could pass through the prohibition and escape outside. Even the purple cloud star emperor would not be able to stop him. Sworn enemy? Lee Yun asked as he walked to the side. Once the attack came, he would immediately run away with the heavenly star ring. Don't be so nervous. I won't do anything to you. The purple cloud star emperor smiled. He could see that Lee Yun was a little nervous. He and I are sworn enemies. We have always been rivals, and we will fight at the slightest disagreement. After all, he has always been better than me. Even the person I like has fallen in love with him. Don't you think we are sworn enemies? Love rivals. These two words popped up in Lee Yun's mind. The two of them had this kind of identity. This is a sworn enemy. Lee Yun smiled awkwardly. He did not know how to answer. Although we are sworn enemies, aren't we also the best of friends? The purple cloud star emperor was a little nostalgic for the past, but he quickly recovered from his memories and looked at him with a smile. As his successor, you were obviously chosen by him. I don't know why he chose you, but I think you must have had an outstanding side. If that's the case, the five-colored Emperor Dragon Lord Lee Yun wanted to say something but stopped. Dead, he died without us. The purple cloud star emperor sighed. Such a good opponent, but he died just like that. It was all because he was too stubborn. After everything was over, he also fell. Lee Yun's eyes narrowed. He remembered the legendary battle and asked, did he die in the battle against the Giant Beast Clan? The Giant Beast Clan? The purple cloud star emperor laughed coldly and shook his head. The Giant Beast Clan is nothing. They are just a small fry. The real big fish is not in the Giant Beast Clan. Not the Giant Beast Clan? Lee Yun's eyes narrowed. But the legends outside are all like this, including the guardian who followed the five-colored Emperor Dragon. The Giant Beast Clan is very strong, but compared to that behemoth, they are still a notch below. The purple cloud star emperor shook his head. Forget it. With your current level of cultivation, it is better not to know for now. The legends outside are indeed credible. He did fight with the Giant Beast Clan, but the real cause of his death was not at the hands of the Giant Beast Clan. You only need to understand this. The purple cloud star emperor revealed shocking news that stunned Lee Yun. Chapter 2248. Lee Yun could not wrap his head around it. Through various records and memories, he learned that the battle back then was quite tragic, with countless deaths and injuries. Of course, it was not confirmed that the five-colored Emperor Dragon had died at the hands of the Giant Beast Clan. At most, it had been seriously injured. He did not expect that the real cause of its death was at the hands of other strong cultivators. If there are stronger existences, doesn't that mean this place is not safe? Lee Yun was a little worried that someone would come to kill him. His family was all here. You can say it's safe, but you can also say it's not safe. The purple cloud star emperor smiled slightly, not too worried. Everything is under our control. When your level of cultivation reaches a certain level one day, you will know the real situation. If you know too much now, you will only feel too much pressure, and you won't be able to resist it. When that time comes, it will be detrimental to your cultivation. The purple cloud star emperor was not joking. If the pressure was too great, and he kept thinking about breaking through crazily, it would be extremely troublesome if he fell into a vicious cycle. Sometimes, it was not better to be under great pressure, but when the distance was too far, it was better not to know for the time being. Suddenly, the target would be very far away, and it would be very difficult to move forward. As the heir of the five-colored Emperor Dragon, I should at least know what level of cultivation I have to reach in order to know this information, right? Lee Yun looked at him with a burning gaze. He wanted to know what level of cultivation he had to reach in order to know about such things. He did not need to know the details. He only needed to reach a certain level of cultivation to be able to protect his own people. After looking at him for a moment, the purple cloud star emperor shook his head and smiled. You're too similar. No wonder you're the heir of the five-colored Emperor Dragon. Your temperament is exactly the same as his, eager to know that goal. There's no harm in telling you. In terms of cultivation, it's at least at the level of Heavenly Star Supremacy. That is, after you break through to Divine Star Supremacy, the next level you break through to is Heavenly Star Supremacy. A level stronger than Divine Star Supremacy. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. As expected, it was extremely difficult. It was already extremely difficult to break through to Divine Star Supremacy, let alone Heavenly Star Supremacy. That's right. Once you've broken through to that level of cultivation, you don't even need to understand it. Someone will come and help you. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor looked at him with burning eyes and said, as the heir of the five-colored Emperor Dragon, we sensed it the moment you became a five-colored Emperor Dragon. It's just that we didn't interfere and let you do whatever you want. Even if you die on the way, it has nothing to do with us. Only when your cultivation reaches the Heavenly Star Supremacy level will we send someone to receive you and know the entire truth. Yi Tianyun was stunned. That's too casual. If I die, won't I have to start all over again? To tell you the truth, you weren't the only one to obtain the five-colored Monarch Dragon's successor. The last one died on the way. This area is just the tip of the iceberg. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor shook his head. That's why we didn't interfere too much. If you really want to shoulder the heavy responsibility, you must go through training and climb to this position. Only then can you become our real help. If you die on the way, then I'm very sorry. We'll wait for the next heir of the five-colored Monarch Dragon. Yi Tianyun's pupils shrank. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. Thinking about it carefully, it was more or less the same. A unique starry Dharma was a unique existence, but once it died, this position would be vacated and continued to be taken by other cultivators. If it was constantly protected, it would be like a flower in a greenhouse without any combat power. Anyway, if it died, they would at most have to wait a little longer. Time was no longer a problem for them. This is how the world should be. Just because you can't, doesn't mean others can't. We've been waiting for the one who can truly possess the five-colored Monarch Dragon Starry Dharma to appear, not a weakling. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor's words were very cruel. Obtaining this unique starry Dharma did not mean that one was absolutely invincible, nor did it mean that one's talent was unique. It only meant that one was qualified to enter their circle. However, if one's level of practice was not up to par, then they would never know. After they died, the next heir would continue to climb up the ladder. What if I don't want to join you after my level of practice is up to par? Yi Tianyun asked. Death. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor's expression was indifferent. There's no second choice. Isn't that forcing it? Yi Tianyun's face darkened. Yes, it's forcing it. Of course, I think you will agree to it, not because of anything else, but because the successor chosen by the five-colored Emperor Dragon will definitely have a similar personality as him, wanting to protect something and protect something. Otherwise, why would he choose you? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor stared at him as if trying to see through him. What do you think? Is there something around you that you want to protect? There is. Yi Tianyun had to admit it and nodded. It was likely that the five-colored Monarch Dragon Starry Dharma would only choose him after he had passed the test. I knew it. This fellow would definitely choose an heir with a similar personality. There's no doubt about it. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor shrugged helplessly. In the past, we paid a little attention to some of the heirs. Their personalities are similar, all wanting to protect something. However, their level of practice is not high enough, and their strength is insufficient, so they die along the way. If you want to protect something, you need great power. Do you think you can do it? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor stared at him, wanting to pierce through him. I have to do it. Yi Tianyun nodded heavily. Others might not be able to do it, but he had to. You're ambitious. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor laughed. I've said too much. You're the first to know so much, and you also know the target's level of practice. I've revealed too much. Forget it. Since you're here, I'll give you an opportunity. Whether you can get it or not will depend on your ability. To be honest, I really didn't expect that an heir of the five-colored monarch dragon would enter my purple gold divinity pavilion. This place is so remote, but it gave birth to an heir of the five-colored monarch dragon. It's really strange. The purple cloud star emperor shook his head. He could not understand this either. Opportunity? Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. I wonder what kind of opportunity it is? You'll find out later. I'll definitely help you, but whether you can get it or not will depend on your ability, the purple cloud star emperor said with a smile. What was the original purpose of this purple gold divinity pavilion? Yi Tianyun was a little curious. It's very simple. It's to select the strongest cultivators and then train them to fight against the giant beast clan. I believe you've already seen this. As long as you're not a fool, you should know why you killed so many of the giant beast clan, right? The purple cloud star emperor said very straightforwardly, a long time ago, we wanted to train them to fight against the giant beast clan, but they're useless now. Chapter 2249. So, you're saying it's an outdated divine temple? Yi Tianyun found it ridiculous. A group of people were desperately trying to squeeze inside, but in reality, it was just an abandoned divine temple. A group of star venerables were still scrambling for it, but it was just a divine temple that the purple cloud star emperor had abandoned. You could say that, but it can still nurture some strong fighters, the purple cloud star emperor said with a faint smile. No, I think it's still very useful. Now that the giant beasts have made a comeback, they're even evolving themselves to become more powerful. They're even taking the form of cultivators and blending in with other cultivators. Usually, it's impossible to detect them, Yi Tianyun explained. There's such a thing? A look of surprise flashed in the purple cloud star emperor's eyes. Few things could surprise him, but this one really did. Yes, there are two people dealing with the guards now. They're the giant beasts. Yi Tianyun said seriously. Senior, you can check to see if it's true. The purple cloud star emperor nodded and waved his hand in the air. Images of the four rooms appeared. Everyone was fighting with great difficulty. The guards they were fighting had the same level of cultivation as them. The guards were as strong as their cultivation. More importantly, the guards had all kinds of moves, and it was difficult to deal with them. Especially since they were all holding star venerable level treasures. It was not easy to deal with them. It seemed that the difficulty of the last stage was really high. They had to deal with all the guards to get in. It's true. The purple cloud star emperor's eyes immediately locked on the two giant beasts. You can't tell on the surface, but you can tell from the aura when they explode. I didn't expect that I built the purple gold divine pavilion to deal with the giant beasts. Now the giant beasts have sneaked in. How ironic. The purple gold divine pavilion would definitely not let the giant beasts in. As long as the giant beasts got close, they would be killed. However, after the giant beasts had evolved and become cultivators, the purple gold divine pavilion did not recognize them. Then, the purple cloud star emperor waved his hand and grabbed the two giant beasts. Since he knew they were not cultivators, the purple cloud star emperor would not be polite to them. The two of you are quite bold. You dare to barge into my violet gold divine pavilion as members of the giant beast clan? The purple cloud star emperor grabbed the two of them and gently twisted his hand. The energy in their bodies was completely suppressed, and they could no longer resist. The two giant beasts knelt on the ground, their foreheads dripping with cold sweat. They did not expect such a situation to occur. Sir, I don't understand what you mean. One of them lied. Stop quibbling. Do you really think that I can't detect the aura that you are emitting? The purple cloud star emperor snorted coldly. Just a little bit of it and I'll be able to sense it immediately. All right, all of you can go to hell. Just as the purple cloud star emperor was about to slap them, Yi Tianyun hurriedly stepped forward and said, Senior, leave one of them to me. The purple cloud star emperor stopped and nodded. I don't know what you want to do, but I'll leave these two to you. You can do whatever you want with them. However, the result must be death. There was a murderous look in the purple cloud star emperor's eyes. The purple cloud star emperor was full of hatred for the giant beast clan. As long as he saw the giant beast clan, No matter who it was, he would kill them. Yi Tianyun nodded. I know how to do that. Yi Tianyun asked the Purple Cloud Star Emperor to spare their lives because he wanted to search their memories so that he could find out what their real plan was. Immediately, Yi Tianyun came in front of them, and without saying a word, he reached out and grabbed their heads, beginning to search their souls. A moment later, Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up, and at the same time, he crushed their souls, getting rid of them once and for all. It seems that the plan hasn't changed. They still don't know what the real purpose of this place is. Yi Tianyun shook his head. He thought that there would be some useful information, but who knew that it would be the same as the giant beasts they had dealt with before, and the information they knew was very limited. When he looked at the Purple Cloud Star Emperor, the Purple Cloud Star Emperor looked at the corpse in silence, and no one knew what he was thinking. You're saying that the giant beast clan has made a comeback? What's the situation now? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor was still a wisp of divine consciousness, so he had no way of knowing what was going on outside. Naturally, he did not know the current situation of the Giant Beast Clan. Immediately, Yi Tianyun told him the details of the Giant Beast Clan situation, including how they wanted to capture the Death Clan and open the door of death to harvest all the powerhouses of the entire Crimson Moon Star. So there's such a thing. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor's expression became more and more serious. He did not expect to encounter such a situation. After such a long time, the Giant Beast Clan had undergone such a huge change. This was something he did not expect. That's right, Senior. Now that they have infiltrated this place, they want to take control of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion and slaughter all of us cultivators. Yi Tianyun said with a serious expression. Huh, they want to take control of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor laughed. When I first set up this place, it was impossible for anyone to take control of it. Unless they have a very strong cultivation base, they can break it by force. Otherwise, they won't be able to take control of this place. If they want to take control of this place, even a divine star venerable won't be able to do so. They have to be at least a heavenly star supreme venerable. However, since they have come, let's treat them well. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor laughed coldly. A domineering aura surged from this wisp of divine consciousness. Although it was not as strong as his body, it was still shocking. Immediately, his gaze shifted to the side, as if he had begun to investigate the Giant Beast Clan in the entire Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. After a while, he smiled and said, "Not bad, so many Giant Beast Clan have invaded this place. Let me deal with them all at once." After saying that, he stretched out his hand and flicked his fingers. Immediately, dozens of cultivators appeared in the void. Yi Tianyun took a closer look and found that they were all from the Giant Beast Clan. There was no mistake. As expected of the Purple Cloud Star Emperor. In terms of investigation, he could still see through the Giant Beast Clan's concealment. What's going on? When a group of Giant Beast Clan was captured, they writhed and struggled frantically, but found that they could not struggle at all. They were all Grand Star Venerables, but they did not even have the ability to resist here. I wonder if any of you know who I am? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor looked at them coldly. When this group of Giant Beast Clan looked over and found that it was a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse, their expressions changed. They hurriedly said, "Senior, we don't know what we did wrong. We all came in according to the rules. It seems that your ancestors didn't tell us about what happened in the past?" The Purple Cloud Star Emperor laughed, but the friendliness disappeared and was replaced by a cold smile. "Back then, I don't even know how many trillions of Giant Beast Clan I killed, but you didn't record my appearance. How ridiculous!" Chapter 2250. Yi Tianyun did not know about the Purple Cloud Star Emperor's situation, but from what he had said, the Purple Cloud Star Emperor must have been the vanguard and killed countless giant beasts. However, none of the giant beasts knew what the Purple Cloud Star Emperor looked like, which was strange. This was similar to the five-colored Emperor Dragon. The giant beasts hated the five-colored Emperor Dragon, and they clearly knew that the five-colored Emperor Dragon was their mortal enemy. The fact that so many Guardian Divine Generals had been controlled was the best proof of this. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor was such a big target, but they did not know about him. This was very strange. Thinking back to the contents of the Soul Search, they could not find any memory of the Purple Cloud Star Emperor. It was as if everything had been erased. Who are you? The leader of the giant beasts, who was a late-stage star venerable, stared at the Purple Cloud Star Emperor. They really did not know who he was. That's true. I was too low-key and hid my identity so well that even your ancestors did not know my true identity, right? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor smiled. Of course, they might have thought that I was dead, and they were indeed seriously injured. His smile became colder and colder, causing the giant beasts to tremble. They already knew what their fate was. Since the Purple Cloud Star Emperor had said so, it meant that he had a great hatred for the giant beasts. How could he let them go? If you want to kill us, then kill us. We will never beg for mercy. They knew that they could not escape, so they did not beg for mercy. Don't worry, even if you beg for mercy, I won't let you go. Just as the Purple Cloud Star Emperor was about to attack, Tianyun suddenly stood up and said, "Senior, leave them to me." Tianyun's eyes were full of surprise. There were so many giant beasts here, and if he killed them all, he could earn a lot of star energy. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor would not gain any star energy from killing them, so leaving them to him was undoubtedly the best thing to do. Oh, it seems that you have quite a lot of resentment towards them? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor's attitude towards Tianyun was more relaxed. Yes, quite a lot. Tianyun nodded repeatedly. In reality, there wasn't much of a grudge. It could only be considered an average grudge. He just wanted to earn more star energy, so he couldn't waste it. All right, I'll leave them to you. With a wave of his hand, the Purple Cloud Star Emperor sealed their powers, rendering them unable to move. With his ability, it would be very easy for him to seal them. Thank you, Senior. Tianyun walked towards them step by step. The thunder saber in his hand flickered with lightning. A cold smile hung on the corner of his mouth, sending chills down their spines. Even if we can't control the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion, you guys won't be able to escape. The colossal beast race roared. They wouldn't give up on struggling. Don't worry, we won't escape. We'll kill our way out. As soon as Tianyun's voice fell, the thunder-long blade in his hand slashed down rapidly. It was a frenzied slaughter, showing no mercy at all. Showing mercy to them was tantamount to seeking death. They wouldn't be moved by Tianyun's mercy. Soon, this group of colossal beasts had been completely slaughtered by him. He had obtained a large pile of star energy and many treasures, which made him feel very satisfied. He hadn't expected that his harvest this time would be so good. Even if he hadn't obtained any star-level treasures, it was worth it to earn so many star energy points. Thank you, Senior. Tianyun said gratefully. You're welcome. You've done justice for the heavens by killing them. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor said in a low voice. Speaking of which, judging from what they've said, they must have set up many great formations outside. With the little bit of divine will I left behind, I won't be able to control the situation outside. It'll be fine if they barge in, but if they don't, I won't be able to help you guys. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor's original intention in leaving behind the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion was to select strong fighters to deal with the colossal beast race. It wasn't a mobile fort. Therefore, there weren't any great offensive formations outside. At most, it could only be used as a defensive fortress, not an offensive one. It doesn't matter. Let us handle this ourselves. Tianyun's eyes shone as he said, "This is our land. Let us guard it." All right, the Purple Cloud Star Emperor said with a smile, "But you don't have to worry too much. After the group of people goes through the trial, they'll have more experience in dealing with the colossal beast race. When they get to this stage, they'll have a lot of improvements. When the time comes, it'll be easier to fight. However, I'll give you some special privileges. There are many star-level treasures here, and you'll be in charge of distributing them. With these star-level treasures as our combat power, it'll be a little easier to deal with the colossal beast race." The Purple Cloud Star Emperor said with a smile, "Usually, you can't take away the treasures here until the end of the battle. The star-level treasures that the Purple Cloud Star Emperor mentioned were naturally the hundreds of star-level treasures that he had seen when he entered. If he didn't defeat the 4 guards, he would have to return the treasures later. Now that they were all in Yi Tianyun's hands, it was equivalent to him suddenly owning hundreds of star-level treasures. He was really rich. If the other families knew about this, they would go crazy. They had worked so hard to get even one treasure, but now Yi Tianyun could easily get all the star-level treasures. Thank you, Senior. Yi Tianyun was extremely excited. With so many treasures, the combat power of his forces would definitely be greatly improved. You're welcome. I can't support you here. No one expected the colossal beast race to change like this. I'll leave it to you to eliminate them. Can you do it? The Purple Cloud Star Emperor said sternly, staring at him. Yes. Yi Tianyun said in a low voice. If we don't eliminate them, they'll harm this area. Our families and friends are all here, and we'll never allow them to do that. It's the same. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor said with a smile. Well, while they're still going through the trial, I'll give you a big opportunity first. Whether you can get it or not depends on your ability. Now, are you ready? I'm ready. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. He had been ready for a long time. We'll go. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor waved his hand and sent Yi Tianyun away. Only Tian Xinghuan was left in the main hall. Tian Xinghuan was still immersed in her breakthrough, and the Purple Cloud Star Emperor had specially set up a shield for her to prevent her from being affected. He glanced at Tian Xinghuan and didn't pay much attention to her. The inheritor of the 5-color Emperor Dragon. I hope this time, she won't let us down again. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor sighed deeply. There's not much time left. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.